Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Shadow and Sun Show. Welcome to another Saturday night paint and chill stream. I just got in the mail today a Hackmaster Kinzer and Company hmm, Lewd Beholder. I'm gonna show it off to you. I put it together while I was in OGGM's game. I actually had this mini already, but I didn't know what it was. And I'm missing the base and maybe like one tentacle. But I've had it for like a long time, and I found out that it's like a 2001 miniature. So I'm going to be painting that up tonight while working on my Terrain Crate by Mantic Miniatures bookshelf library set, as well as this creepy crawler. Throwing some color on that. I'm kind of thinking I might keep a bit of it white, maybe even make a little bit more of it white, kind of give it that sort of 70s, 80s sort of what's the look retro look to it. And I may, if I have some time, work on this crane for Jackie's sci-fi Dungeons and Dragons kind of game in case he needs it. Let's see who's in the chat. Is anybody in the chat? Hey, what's up, Squirrel? What's up, Hermit? What's up, James L? Happy Easter, everybody. Hackmaster. Yeah, what's up, Cake or Death? Yeah, like I said, I've got it over here in another little bin, the other one, and I always thought it was like not archive, but something like really old. But I guess 2001 now is kind of old, 25 years. So I'll be working on that. I'm pretty sure I can like get this one completely done from start to finish. The other stuff I've been just like picking at, especially these bookshelves that are really hard to, do all the books, make them different and look, proper. What I usually do is I'll take one color and make like one book this color that like let's say green, right? And then I'll make one book green over here, and then maybe two books green over there. Maybe over here I'll make a stack of like three or four books in a row green, and then move on to another color. But because it's so dark and they're so deep, you can see that it's really hard to see inside those shelves. So here, let me get this one. This one looks better. It's coming along, but you got to leave those black lines in there, and maybe I'll do the little gold trim on them if I'm feeling ambitious. Yes, everybody have a great Easter. Some of you know I went to church on Thursday night, which was a very, very moving experience. I was invited to have my feet washed. Feel free to throw your feet wash jokes in the chat. I'm sure there are plenty to hit me with. Getting a call at the worst possible time. And I also did. I was invited to confession, but they didn't realize that it was my first confession, literally ever. So I probably got away with a little something that I probably shouldn't have. I guess I'm chopped liver. If that hunger. No, I said hey Hungar, didn't I? Well, hey Hungar, I sorry if I missed you there. I talk to you like every day, dude. Come on. And George, you guys all know where the link is if you want to come in. Uh, Hold on a second. And what else do we do? I did communion as well, but I found out I'm not really supposed to do that either yet. But this is all new to me, so I'm sure the big guy understands and will forgive me. So let's get started on this mini. But like I said, if you guys want to join, the link is in my Discord, the top of my very top Discord channel. It says live stream link. So if you want to come and join and hang out while I paint up some minis and we talk turkey, You're always more than welcome, especially those of you who are on my Discord, because uh, you know the drill and know to keep your pants on. Just chilling in my home, away from home. That's awesome. Hungar, have you seen the latest Cold Iron memes? Those Battlestar Galactica ones are epic, and I'm going to take a little credit because I suggested them uh, to Cold Iron because he was doing some stuff, and I'm like, well, why don't you do some like Star Wars, some Battlestar Galactica, and they just turned out really, really funny. So I need a good old fashioned dry brush brush. Oh, here we go. Uh, First thing I always do. Now, thanks to James L. Tad under the weather. Sorry to hear that, Squirrel. I thought you were on the road doing your top secret on the roadie stuff. We were actually talking about you and your traveling uh, paint and crafting kit. I think that would be an epic video if you showed off everything that you bring. I'm actually looking into one of those. Uh, you know what? I need to. Okay, I'll do this. One of those like really small portable airbrushes to do just like what you do on the rare occasion that I'm out. But I'd love to see what you travel with when you bring your minis and your paints and all that. Oh shit, Hungar! I didn't know that's what you meant by your home away from home. I hope you're okay, buddy. Uh, you better be, because otherwise we will all come down there and kick the doctor's ass to make sure you hurry up and get the hell out of there and back where you belong. Now, when I do a zenithal, I always start in an area that won't matter if I lay on the white dry brushing a little heavy. I don't do it with an airbrush because I have absolutely no control uh, of that yet. So I'm going to go on the underside and just lightly dry brush, just so I can get those scales, so you can see the little black lines in between them. Heading out for 6 weeks. Oh my God, how do you do that? That's just when my family goes away for similar amounts of time in Mexico. I'm both worried, sick, and relieved that I'll get some free time to do whatever the hell I want. Walk around in my underwear, that sort of thing. And then after I'm done dry brushing this, I'll let it dry for a little bit. I noticed right away when I was doing this miniature that the eye is completely. Let's see if I can get that in there so you can see what I'm talking about. You see how the eye is just completely smooth. So I'm going to have to paint all the detail of the eye, and that's going to be a true test of skill if I can make and pull that off and not make it look super derpy. Have you guys ever checked out Wylock's Armory? He made a great video that's still evergreen on how to make a beholder miniature out of a ping pong ball. And Jackie and I actually, we not only we watched that video, but we made one or two of our own, and they turned out perfect if you follow his directions with the right materials. Especially, he found these beads, half like half round. They're just like flat on one side. You have this mini. It's really a fun mini. It's not all that lewd though, but I guess the tongue sticking out or something. Um, but he found these beads that are flat, and there'll be like cat's eyes or whatever, just different kinds of animal, fish eyes, etc. And they're perfect for things like that, where when you stick them on, because they're half round and they're glass or clear plastic, that when you look at it from different angles, they really look realistic, even though they're some of them are kind of fantastical in the way of what they depict, what kind of eye, but they're perfect for that sort of thing. And I'll need to dig those out sometime and show them to you because he's got a great channel. Uh, I have Sumerian syndrome. I don't know what that is, but uh, yeah, I'm going to save that for the very last and really take a look at some pictures of beholders to get an idea what and how I should do that. I'm trying real hard not to bend these eye stalks, but still get the black in there. Let me get that card again. What did I do with that? So that you can see the little lines that I'm creating around the eyeball and from the eyelid. Oh, doing that shows me I need to get that one. That one's not quite right. These were kind of difficult to get in and have the eye stalks at different positions because I wanted to make sure that big eyes so that he or she whatever I don't care uh, looks like it's looking in different directions, and I think I may have not wiped off enough paint, but we'll make it work. That's one of the great things about washes. When you come in later, it will fix some of those mistakes. I'm also going to probably paint him in my traditional green and purple. Those of you who remember back in the day when we were starting to do all our crafts and whatnot, every monster I made was green and purple. And we figured out that that comes from all those years of reading Marvel comic books, all the different characters with green and purple costumes. And if you look over on your color wheel, you'll see that purple and greens are directly opposite. Yeah, they're purple, greens down here. So they contrast and just end up looking better that way. Yeah, don't builders have a gender? Beholders, yeah, beholders don't have a gender. Yeah, I think they're all dudes. I think having a female beholder just doesn't seem right. And beholders do have an agenda, in case you were wondering. My wife is forbidden to wear contacts. Contacts are the worst. Yeah, I don't know how people put little pieces of freaking plastic willingly in their eyeballs. I realize it's to see better, but it just uh, eyes are precious, a gift from God, so to speak, and putting anything in there just oh man, it's the worst for me. Now I need another dry brush. And I had oh there it is. It's hiding from me in plain sight. Last place I would look. So I'm going to go over some of the midsection again with more white to make it look a little whiter. Yeah, I got this. It's funny. When I was cleaning up my garage and sorting everything out and organizing everything, I found my uh, Green Stuff World box. If you've ever received anything from them, they've got these really, really cute sort of coloring book looking boxes that have this weird black and white art, mostly black line art with just different monsters and things on it. And I told myself that one of these days I was going to get that. I was going to take that box and break out some markers and color it up and use it for something special. And then I proceeded to put it in another box, which I put in another box and put that box in a pile of boxes and forgot about it. But then cleaning up the garage this last week, which came out really, really really nice being able to find things and not have to dig through piles. I had this pile of books for my eBay business that I don't really do much with anymore um, from years and years ago, just box after box. I have filled up a trash can, no, two trash cans, and I still have more. Uh, oh, yeah, well, I don't protest because I have more to do with my time, or more important things to do with my time. Although my son was at a protest a while back, I'm not going to tell you what he was protesting. If you know me, you kind of have an idea. Um, and apparently, he met a girl, and she wants him to do some art for him. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? And we were talking about that the other day. But yeah, I was just hoarding boxes. Like I was saving them up for the cardboard box apocalypse. I was going to make a box fort or something out of it. And I came to the conclusion a while back that cardboard sucks. Go with plastic or something better for storing like everything, because they just end up being dust magnets. And after a while, especially in the desert heat where I live, they became like really brittle and fragile, and I couldn't do anything with them other than break them down. And I spent the better part of 4 days uh, during the last couple of weeks just breaking down the boxes into small pieces so I could fit as many into my trash bin as possible. And that trash bin is full, waiting for Tuesday's trash pickup. And where is the actual white paint? I have no idea. Um, and I still have boxes to break down. I can't even park the car in the garage. There's so many. And also, I this is funny. Um, I was saving up styrofoam, the white stuff you get with all kinds of crap, electronics and things like that, to build a giant castle someday. And over the years, I've come to the conclusion that um, pink and blue XPS foam is superior in every way. And if I could get it, I would uh, build myself a nice big castle. And then after the XPS, I discovered that. I then discovered. Hold on a second. My dog is being really good. I discovered Dungeons and Lasers, which actually has a castle set that's very much like Legos, and I'm eyeballing a couple of the castle sets to go that route to build a castle with that way. Because even the styrofoam, the XPS stuff, excuse me, will take damage, very easily and deteriorate, and just it's a lot of fun to work with and build. But if you're going for longevity and you want to keep this stuff around for a while, uh, Dungeons and Lasers is the way to go with all your terrain needs. Okay, once again, too heavy on the dry brush. We'll have to go back over that with something else. Are you closer to Nevada? I've never heard much about Inland Cali. No, I'm Northern Cali, high desert, Lancaster area, and it's brutal in my garage. It's usually hotter in my garage than it is outside, and conversely, colder during the cold months. So I'm going with longevity over uh, cheapness. There's an old saying: light, durable, and inexpensive. Pick two. So I'm going to go with uh, lightweight and durable. And Dungeons and Lasers, while it's not individually, it's lightweight. You get a nice couple of boxes of that. Not so much. Um, Durable, yes. The new paint jobs on the pre-paint stuff, you can take a hammer to it and you won't break the plastic, nor will you chip the paint. Unfortunately, the castle sets aren't pre-painted, which is fine. I have made numerous videos and spent many hours painting up that terrain, and it's just the best out there. Second only to Dwarven Forge, which I'm actually looking at some Dwarven Forge sci-fi sets. I used to have them back in the day before my son was born, and my wife and I actually did a bunch of photos for Please do. You will absolutely love it. It's not cheap, but it will last a lifetime, and you can do pretty much anything you want with it. And my wife and I, we did this photo shoot for, I forget, for some miniatures, and for the sci-fi sets. They only had three at the time. I think they still only have three or four sci-fi sets, which is really a shame. But they're super expensive now and out of print. But I was looking at them and like, you know what? Yeah, I kind of want them back. I wish I would have never sold them. And so I've been looking at them at on eBay, and to get the three or four sets, it's going to cost me a couple $100. But that stuff is really strong. Unfortunately, if you drop it, it's not that strong. It's a little stronger than making things with Hearst Arts molds, which I've done and will continue to do. I just poured some molds. I used the blue stuff. If you guys are familiar with that, great mold making material that you can reuse over and over again. You'll take like say this ladder, and you'll squish it into the blue stuff, and push it around so that it really sinks in there, and then wait until it dries. You just you throw the blue stuff in boiling water, wait till it gets all squishy and cool enough to touch, and then push your item into the stuff to make a 1 or 2 part mold, and then you pull it out, and you can put whatever medium you like in it, like green stuff or milliput, which I've used, but I find that Merlin's Magic Dental Plaster is the best when you're making molds of things. And I just I just came across. You guys probably don't remember, but back in the day, uh, Heartbreaker Hobbies through the Mutant Chronicles license had this terrain that was really neat. Dark Legion and sandbags. The Dark Legion is like the gothic evil temple stuff, and a bunch of other little. You get like 2 or 3 pieces in a pack for like $10, and now it's like super expensive. But I found a box full of that terrain, and I'm like, I could never buy more of this terrain without spending a lifetime searching on eBay and paying insane prices when it does come up for purchase. So I'm just going to take a big chunk of the blue stuff and make molds of the walls and the throne. I think there's a throne. There's this really cool archway of skulls that I made several mold. I made a mold of it and made several copies of that, and I've used it for various projects. I'm sorry about the dog, guys. I don't know what he's barking at. So I think I'm going to put this off to the side. I've dry brushed it, let it dry, and see how Mr. Beholder is. Also did a really simple base with, you can't see it, but I just glue put a thin layer of super glue, and then dip it in a little bucket, a little cup really of fine grained sand, and make sure it gets nice and thoroughly coated, and then I'll just paint it up some way. I get all my crafting materials like sand and twigs and rocks, and use real sand, twigs, and rocks. I don't like using cork or any of that stuff. James L says, I really like the Heroescape terrain, but I'm also on the warbands. Oh, but am so on the warbands. A friend of mine, he tried selling me his entire collection of that stuff, and I liked a lot of it for for war games, but it just doesn't quite. It loses some of its immersive feel for role playing games because of the small hex format. I'm thinking of the same stuff, right? Where you stack hexes at different levels. I used to really dig that geohex styrofoam hexes. They were about yay big, and they came in various thicknesses to make walls and not walls, but like grasslands and hills and forests and things like that. They even came with these really funky pipe cleaners that would be like thin, and then they would bulb out and then go thin again. And if you cut them just right, you could make like little pine trees about this big. And I use that stuff for Epic Space Marines, and a little BattleTech. I think it was mostly made for BattleTech, and what was that military game? I think GHQ put them out. You can send your stuff to Vatican City. We should send to His Holiness Leo the 14th, a Master of the Universe starter set. Archon Studios, that is. Yeah, they also made some terrain, the Rampart stuff, and the cathedral that they made for that, which is in my garage waiting to be cut out and painted, is really neat. But the only problem is they micro armor. Yeah, that is exactly it. And I actually have some of those tanks somewhere, but they didn't make a floor for it. So if you put it on anything, any of your standard, floors, it just doesn't set right to me. The only thing you can do really is put it on a grid map and hope it's the right color and the tiles will line up to where they should line up. But the rampart terrain is pretty spiffy, but they only made 4 or 5 sets, and you have to get a crap ton of those sets to really cover a table. But I remember it was the Rampart stuff. No, it was Dungeons and Lasers was the first thing I saw from Archon Studios, and I jumped on the Kickstarter, my very first Kickstarter, and I have never looked back. I'm currently waiting for like 10 different Kickstarters to show up at my doorstep. So let's start with the green for his body. I'm just going to use um, a speed paint. Let's see what we've got. Let you guys help me decide what color. Camo cloak. That's kind of close. That's a little too green. Way too green. Too green. I kind of like that though, even though it's a little greener than. So we've got charming chartreuse. We've got camo cloak, and then we've got algae green. What do you guys think for his body? I'm kind of thinking one color, but I'll let you guys decide because I've got another one. I can always paint it up differently. I might even do the exact opposite, like make the other one purple body with green tentacles and appendages and stuff. Speaking of appendages, this one came with. If do I have them? I don't know what I did with them. That's weird. It had two sprues of tentacles, but on one of the sprues it had two little arms, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Here it is. It had these two hands, arms, whatever you want to call them, that you could place instead of the eye stalks, which I thought was kind of fun. That way, your beholder could actually pick stuff up without having to resort to his uh, telekinesis, I guess. We got one vote for algae green. You like the chartreuse? It is a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? Fantastical. The color a little brighter. Little magical looking, I guess. Some stuff all around here. This room is the next one on the cleanup schedule. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to break the tie. Dry brush with some very light blue, bluish light for a bioluminescent fungus that grows on it. Okay, we got 2 votes for chartreuse. I guess we're going to go with that. I'll put the algae away and see if I can find a. There we go. I like the dry brush with the light bluish. Uh, wouldn't mind a glass of chartreuse. I don't think you should be drinking speed paint. Yes, my dog opens the door. You're the second person to notice that today, which is funny. I was on uh, Bear the Gen X GM's show this morning and before OGGM's game, and he just comes walking in. No, it's a ghost. I've got a ghost that lives with us. Yeah, he gets real lonely if I don't leave the door open. Right now, he's like literally right down here, sniffing at my feet. Like, Daddy, what are you doing? Play with me. Give me some attention. For a 15-year-old dog, he's still pretty spry. This evening after dinner, I went to take out some trash, and he spotted a cat. Of course, he had to chase the cat, and in chasing the cat, he discovered a second cat. Both of which I think are just strays. They don't seem to have owners. They're always, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just cats, but they never seem to have a home. And one of them, little black cat, like sitting in front of my doorstep and driving my dog nuts. I think she does that on purpose. It's like, haha, I know there's a dog on the other side, and if that door opens, I'm out of here. But in the meantime, I'm gonna make him go freaking nuts, and he does. He goes nuts. Okay, that looks like part of the eye. Bear with me. What do you guys think? I think we got a winner. Now I'm gonna find my glass. There they are. Make sure I didn't miss anything. So what are you guys doing? Are you guys painting out there? You doing anything exciting? Getting ready for anything interesting coming up this week? He has got a lot of lip on him. Oh, there's a little tiny spot. See, I would have missed that. And I'm not going to go and do a second coat because that will darken it too much. I might even go over it with a light lime green before I do the dry brushing of the blue. I think I'm going to use a start with a pastel and go darker for the fungus. Thanks, James. I actually turf my contrast because it dries so patchy. I don't know what turf means in this context. Oh yeah, and you know what? All the GW contrast paints, uh, they don't do anything for me. They're not as uh, fluid as I like, and they stain a lot. Uh, we Jackie and I did a comparison of all the speed paints. Oof, almost 6 years ago. Master of Uni minigame rules free at Archon. Master of the Universe, huh? You'll definitely be at the hotel. Okay, so I need to let this dry for a minute. That's one thing about the old speed paints. Is as soon as you started like trying to dry brush over them with anything that was remotely wet, they would reactivate, and that was kind of a bummer. I still have the basic set of the speed paints. The 2.0s are much better. Oh, you know what I did? Malignant green, maggot skin, chartreuse. I poured out too much paint, so I need to scoop that paint back into the bottle. I'm really cheap when it comes to paint because it takes so long to get here that if I pour too much out in my palette, I will absorb it back up with a brush and put it back in the bottle. I need to order some Demon Yellow from the old Army Painter set. It is very much like that famous yellow from GW. What do you want, little man? What do you want? You want me to pet you? Because that's all I got. I'm not giving you any popcorn. I'm not taking you downstairs because the door's wide open. I know. I can feel it from here. Come on, say hi to everybody. Come here. See, that's all he wants. He wants to say hi to everybody. See, look at that cutie pie. Hello, you'll be looking at my face, you weirdo. Yeah, he does not like looking at the camera. He likes looking at me though, huh? Now you big baby. We love you. Everybody loves Chewy. Everybody loves him. Except those darn cats, right? And Mr. Squirrel. I saw a dead squirrel on my way walking around the neighborhood the other day, and I was like, oh no, Chewy's best buddy got squished. But we'll see. The squirrels usually come out pretty soon, and this little squirrel will just sit on the fence like chucking insults at him, and he gets all upset. This last stretch of work has had us jumping from hotel to hotel, and you were riding with someone. Okay, and what they do something weird while you're in the truck or something? I've had that happen. I used to hitchhike a lot when I was young, back in the '80s, to either get to the beach or this one girlfriend's house. Oh yeah, weird times. Thank God I stopped doing that because yeah, don't do that. It was funny. I actually saw someone. I saw a young lady hitchhiking the other day, and I'm like, you're basically just asking to get kidnapped, right? I mean, nothing good can come from that. Or they're going to think you're a certain kind of female and make an offer you might not be able to refuse. Okay. So you didn't have enough room. That sucks. That sucks. I'm thanks to James L. I'm working on a little box for gaming, but for a completely different purpose. So stay tuned for that. I just need to find like an Altoids tin or something to make it work. I've got the foam. I've got the little ruler. Yeah, that's gotta suck. What do you do when you're not painting? Just watch, cable TV or something, or do you bring a book? That's got to be rough. I used to do a lot of traveling too, Squirrel. Like a lot of traveling. Like every week, I was going somewhere different, and I had an Xbox, the original Xboxes, but I also had this foldable screen that sat on top of the Xbox, and I would carry that with a bunch of video games from hotel to hotel, doing my job, and it literally weighed more than my other luggage, like my other two bags combined. I know because I had to get on a Greyhound at one point, and they weighed them, and it was like, oh my god, this thing's freaking heavy. What's this? My Xbox. Oh wow, I didn't know they were that heavy. And I, yeah, I've got one somewhere, but it's actually an EDC kit, and I don't want to break that down. And Altoids are just way too strong for me personally. I don't know about you guys, but they're just like feel like they're burning a hole in my mouth. I don't want to just buy them and throw them away, but I probably will or give them to the boy. Uh, but I went to go sell my Xbox because I wanted to move up to the PlayStation, right? And oh man, this sucked. Uh, and I put it on eBay. Squirrel says, "Hold on, I'll bring up so you guys can watch YouTube and read, write, nap, or map. Excuse me. I would be doing more than napping. I'm getting over the learning curve of my new Books Box Air Note 5Cs. I like a new laptop. I think that's what that probably is. So I went to sell my Xbox on eBay, and I wish I hadn't, but then uh, I got a new one, so it was cool. Um, and I went and tried to sell it on eBay, and this guy from Africa said, he wanted to send me a money order for it and extra because of all the trouble, etc. I kid you not, I get in the mail an envelope with over $100,000 in fake United States postal money orders. And I'm like, this is such a scam. I'm not, I should have called the police, but instead I took them to the post office trying to turn them in. And of course, the nitwit behind the counter thought I was trying to cash them. I'm like, no, I'm trying to turn them in. I want you guys to, find this guy and arrest him because the address was actually in the United States. It was in Arizona. And I'm like, look, whoever sent me these is a criminal, let's, I'm here to try to help you catch this guy before he gets away and finally actually, manages to figure out how to print these to make them look, proper. Because it was a stack of them, and she thought I was trying to catch them. So she called the cops, uh, and the cops immediately thought I was trying to catch them. I'm like, no, guys, I got I showed them my eBay thing, and it's like, look, this guy is trying to buy them. I know they're counterfeit. I get postal money orders all the time. They are obviously fake. Here, take them, use them. Track this guy down. Here's his address, the whole bit. Uh, and I'm certain they at least found, sent someone out to that address, and they probably owe me a reward check, for helping, catch a fraudster. But of course, I never heard back from them. But yeah, it was really weird. It was really weird. And then I managed to sell it to somebody else, and then years later, my buddy Ron, who's no longer with us, said, "Oh, hey, you want my old Xbox?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I want to play Knights of the Old Republic. It's the greatest game ever. I've got one and two. I saved Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 and the strategy guides, but got rid of the Xbox because I knew that I love that game that much." And shortly after he sent me his Xbox and a huge stack of games, he passed away last year. But I was able to hook up my Xbox, my PlayStation, my 360, my DVD player, all to my TV in the newly renovated fireplace room downstairs where I now do all my reading and relaxing. I come up here and there's just no way I can do any reading or anything but painting for the most part. And now I've got a nice little reading room. And when winter comes back around, I'll have the fireplace going, some cool, ambient light, my books of choice, all my omnibuses that I haven't finished reading, and I'll have a nice, cozy place to actually enjoy these books instead of like try to like burn through them like I'm studying for a class, which is how it feels sometimes when I'm reading like a new game. I've got two new games downstairs that I'm reading for the channel because I want to review them. Take care, Cake. I will see you probably Monday. I don't think I'll be doing anything Sunday night. I'll be in a game or whatever, but I will see you Monday morning. Have a great Easter. I'm going to go back to. I think I'm going to pull out a purple for the tentacles. Now he's coming along, but I need a purple for the tentacles and like his mouth and lips. His tongue will be pink. You know what I'm going to do? His tongue first. That way, it'll help me spot what the mouth is. And I'm going to go with Princess Pink because why not? Uh, just probably need one dot. You ever do that? Like with the dropper bottles? I get really like happy if I squeeze out just the right number of drops for something and not waste any paint, and it's exactly the right amount. I always get like a weird kick out of it. It's like, yeah, nailed it. I guesstimated just right. So, paintbrush. I'm gonna go with one drop of Princess Pink. Some of these names, right? And we'll just go whoosh, light coat. That's. I'm gonna have to go over it with a red wash. I can already tell. It just doesn't. Too much of the black is coming through. Maybe a second coat will fix that. Yeah, it's a little better, but still. Now I can't see that line that runs down the middle of his tongue. All right, and that was enough. And we'll go for putting that away. And we'll look for. I think I'll use that as a dry brush over. I'm gonna go. I've got. Ooh, I think I grabbed it on the first try. I'm actually thinking of going with. What do you think? Moondrake Coral for the purple. Let's try this out. Take it for a whirl. Oh, but you know what? I can already tell I need to. That is the paint shaker. Oh, if you don't have one of these for your paint, highly recommend these nail polish shakers. Okay, that's weird. You can add. Hold on, James. You can actually add a universal dry brush and reglaze it if it looks too dark. It will look even deeper and smoother. Yeah, okay. Yeah, what I'll probably do is when it dries, I'll hit it. Oh, that's messy. I'll hit it with a red wash, Army Painter Red, or maybe with there's another new color of wash like a purplish or violet. Hit it with that, and then take the speed paint. And what I usually do is I'll let it evaporate a little, and then I can use it as kind of a dry brushing paint because it's so thin that it really doesn't work as a dry brush. It soaks into the bristles and you can't really get it to do what you want it to do. Yeah, the nail brush shakers are tops. This one's actually Lab Invo, so like for medical test tubes and stuff, but they're all over the place. And you know, for 20 or 30 bucks, you really can't beat it to get your paint shaken, not stirred. I know that was kind of corny, but what are you gonna do? Sue me. Sorry, I have to focus on these little tentacles here. Not going to do all of the eyelids with this color to kind of transition into a lighter color. Just make sure I get all the dark areas with a little bit of this. Whoops. What happened? Oh, that was weird. My whole laptop just sort of went dark. Get at all the angles. You guys tell me what you think. Hold on, let me get that white card again. What did I do with it? Blah. And then I'm gonna need these again. Oh, dry brush over it. Okay. I mean, dry brush it white again and then glaze over that. Okay. Okay. I like that idea. I have done that with something recently. I'm not sure what though. Okay. What the heck is that supposed to be? Well, we're going to find out in a minute. Shall we? Okay. I'm going to go and use that also here for his lower lip area. I think those are supposed to be teeth, but they don't really look like it. So I'm going to pretend like they're not. It almost blends in too much with the purple, so I'm going to have to do this. A little thick here. Yeah, see, it just doesn't look right. I think I either need to make it darker or make that. It's just something about it's not looking right. I think what I need to do is go over that upper lip with the chartreuse. I think that's what that was supposed to be. Yeah, I've actually got these, but when I wear these, they just make me all hot and sweaty. They're really good. I've got the these ones over here as well, the Fritz style. The same thing. They just make me all hot and sweaty. I should be using my reading glasses, which are even better, but they're downstairs, and I don't feel like going to get them. These are just like $1.25 freaking Dollar General. Oh, is that it? Dollar General style readers. Yeah, that's what was missing. This upper lip definitely needed to be green. Does that look better? Tell me, guys. Look up Yakto Sun. Almost went in the wrong color there. Let me get a pen and write that down because I can't change screens from here without screwing something up. Got a pencil. I will check that out after the show. The other thing you might do is just a very light dry brush of ice yellow to tie the colors together and just catch the edges. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to take a minute, let this dry off. Put that away. Really fastidious about putting my paints back in the. I've got a row of different, I've got like a row of Army Painter metallics and washes, a row of Army Painter and Vallejo solids, then a row of Army Painter speed paints, and then a row of Reaper. And by row, I mean four, three, four, three, four, four. So there's like 400 paints right here, another 500 to 1,000 bottles over there. And I just came across a box of about 100 more bottles of craft paint, but I put them right back where they go as soon as I'm done, or I get weird. So I'm going to go back to the creepy crawler and add some color to this. I think I'm going to go with, I think I need some more of that red. I'm going to try, where's my blood red? There we go. I know, right? Trying to keep a clean workspace is just, when you're in the zone, you just start grabbing stuff and doing stuff and trying to get the paint on the model and not worry about the workspace. And then next thing you know, the workspace is a national disaster. My workspace here is pretty cluttered. There's a couple, excuse me, couple of bottles of paint I always have out and I never put away, and that's my Vallejo Cold White, Vallejo Ivory. Thanks to James L, because I'll pretty much dry brush everything I own with ivory, and it turns out, except for the metallics, for some reason it just comes out really, really spiffy. I have one of those, but I used to use it for books near my nightstand, and now it's all cleaned out, and all my books are where I'm actually going to read them, because I don't read much before bed because it just tends to, oh, that's the wrong color. That's why. Son of a gun. Started using leftover purple. I have done that. I've done that so many times, George. Okay, where is the color that I just poured out? Is that it? No, that's not it either. Oh my goodness. So what are you doing tonight, George? That's not it either. Where the? No, that's it. I got it. I think I need a new palette because this one is so full of other colors. Yeah, I'll put this one away because I keep dipping it into the wrong color. Give me a minute, folks. You guys use these poppets for palettes? I'll show you. Boom, boom. and they're for the most part clean. I will take this one downstairs and want to pick up the paint little flakes, get them in the trash bin. But I will scrub it because you can clean out the main bubble and it's really good. But like right here in these little crevices, it just holds onto the paint. You really need a scrub brush. No, James, I have never done that. I don't right now. I don't have any little kids in my life that I would do that with. But all of the nephews have pumped out a ton of kids. I want to say like one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 kids in 3 years. And when they get to be like 5 to 7, I might bring them over and let them do some painting. But it would probably be terrain, like little houses or something. I'll get like some of those ceramic cottages from the dollar store, those little gnome houses, and let them do that. Thanks, George. I appreciate it. I know this is a rough night with Easter coming tomorrow morning and everything. I'm only going to be here for a little while longer because I have uh, Easter stuff I have to get ready for as well. There it is. See, that makes it so much easier when you don't have. Oh, crap. I guess we're going to do that, aren't we? Painted over the copper that I wanted to keep copper, but I guess it's red now. That's okay. A guy at Games Workshop taught Jackie and I this neat trick of taking your speed paints, your contrast paints, what have you, and lay down a metallic and then go over it. We were trying to get a really good Iron Man red, and he said, "Well, paint it gold." I'm like, "What? Paint it gold, and then go over it with your bright contrast red, and watch what happens." And sure enough, we got this kick-ass candy apple red metallic look that Jackie was just ecstatic with. Because Iron Man was his thing back in the day. I kid you not. He when he was a little tyke when Iron Man first came out, and he was less than 3 years old. He would sit and watch just the opening screen, the DVD uh, screen where you choose what the options, language and stuff like that. It was just Iron Man spinning around on like a pedestal, and he would sit and watch that all day. Don't change it, Dad. Don't change it. Leave it on Iron Man. I'm like, well, okay. Is it nap time yet? And that was really he was our guy. Iron Man was our guy for a long time. Didn't really get much into any of the other movies. And when word came out that they were going to ice Iron Man and he was going to die, and one of the Avengers movies, not Ultron, Thanos movies, we didn't even go to the theater to watch. It was like we were big babies. We couldn't see Tony get you know dead. And I don't think to this day we've ever seen that movie. Now I hear they're gonna bring him back as Doctor Doom, and I'm like, that's not how that's supposed to work, guys. You guys know how much I like Doctor Doom, but they're two different guys, and they should be two different guys. That's just cheap. Find somebody, who could play Doom. Hell, get me to play Doom. I'll play Doctor Doom for you. I'll knock that shit out of the park. All right, a little more red, and then should I go all the way across? No, no, I'm not going to do that. But I am going to touch that up right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to chip this all over the place and scratch it up, make it look even grungier, uh, and start hitting it with various washes to make it look oily and dirty and like the paint's coming through. I've also got these. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, the Elephant Man. I didn't realize that was him until I was watching a video about some of the things he'd done. I think it was uh, a video on not Dune, but yeah, it was Dune, and it talked about how he done the Elephant Man. Was actually very moving, stylized, but not overly so. I saw that movie like a million years ago, and I haven't thought about it since. Uh, the Iron Man movie was perfect. The first one, if you've ever read the original Iron Man comic books, the old ones, that movie was really close to accurate. Obviously, they had to change it from the Vietnam War to you know, something going on in the Middle East, but it worked, and it actually, I think, worked a little better because of the technology and whatnot that was available. Because I don't really know much about Vietnam, but I don't think it quite worked. Or was it Korea? It could be old enough to be that, but I don't remember it. Like I said, it's been a million years. That might be an omnibus I might have to look into. I wanted to show you these guys. If you don't have any of these, uh, there's a trick that my friend Armstrong taught me. From here, uh, these Tamiya weathering powders. They they look like makeup kind of. The little brush and the little pads there of whatever that medium is, but it's a dry powder. But if you can't find or afford those, let's see if I've got this. I should. No, I don't. You can go to your local dollar store and go into the makeup section. You can find, little things of makeup that'll have like bronze and brass and copper, colors with the little brush. And if you scratch it and use it, you can use it as a dry weathering powder, especially for like dust. Like if you want to get like a Mars like dust or sand and things like that. But that will be like one of the final touches, and then of course I'll have to hit it with a clear coat. Otherwise, the stuff will come off on your hands when you're playing with it. Oh, okay. Uh, there's so many panels on this, but I want to keep as much white as possible. I think what we'll do is we'll start picking out the tubes and the pipes on the side here. With I think we're going to go back with the Aztec gold. For some reason, I really like this greenish metallic color, and pick out some of these little details. It's got a muffler on the top. I will never, whatever. That's cool. think I should do that as well. I think that's supposed to be taillights. I don't know. I was really bummed. I got this really cool limo model, but for some reason, the silver paint that I got, might look good from a distance, but up close it is pitted, and this one side here is all sticky. It's now dried, but it. I was so disappointed with this. I love the model; it's a really neat looking uh, limo, but yeah, I'm still pulling up sticky on this one side. Yeah, it's a good one. It's really it's this greenish color up on top. It is a metallic, but it's yeah, I suppose it could sound like that. But it's that color. Have you ever seen like the eyeball of a fly and it's kind of greenish metallic? It's like exactly that color. And I'm really glad they added it to this set because I've used that color a lot lately for a lot of different things. And it's just got a neat sort of antique look to it with just the right amount of green. It's not coming out quite the same here, but it is more green than it looks on camera. Okay, is there? Oh, there's a matching pipe over there. 65% cocoa. Yeah, I wouldn't drink this stuff. It's probably pretty nasty. And I am going to have a treat for you guys in a couple of weeks, maybe less than a couple of weeks, maybe this time. Shitty fly gold, yeah, kind of, but it works for a lot of things. There used to be another company that had that same color, um, another army painter gold that I used for exactly that for fly eyes on this giant, like I think it was one of those Aspis warriors from Gamma World, and it turned out great for their eyes. The old lead miniatures. I've been thinking about that lately too. I've got like 25 of those um, Chess X miniature cases full of lead miniatures, mostly unpainted that you can't find anymore. All kinds of weird. I've got some like superhero miniatures. To this day, nobody can identify. They're like I went through all of the Lost Minis wiki, and if you're not familiar with that, take a look one of these days. It just has all the great old minis from back in the day, and a bunch of my pictures are on it. From it's funny, I didn't put them there. People would buy minis from my eBay site and then take my pictures and put them up on the Lost Minis wiki. If you see any minis that have a black background and the minis are like primered white, those are probably my pictures. And I've been thinking, should I paint them? Should I sell them? Should I keep them for posterity? I really don't know because they're all 25 mil scale and I don't do that anymore. All my terrain and all my miniatures that I use for gaming are 28 millimeter and They just look so dwarfish next to those. What do you guys think? Sell them, paint them, because they're lead. They're going to rot. They're going to deteriorate. Um, yeah, it's just an old habit. The brush licking. I just use my lips to bring it to a point. Um, I've done that forever. I don't even know where I learned to do that. 'Cause I never really watched like um, Bob Ross do it or anything like that. But what do you think? Should I sell them off? Should I paint them and try to save them? Uh, George. Hey George. Yeah. You notice your. I found where you were under the blocked list or whatever because I had to block somebody and recently, and I saw your name there. I'm like, why are you there? I didn't put you there. You know. The only problem with selling them is melt them down, turn them into. What's up? Excuse me a minute, folks. Sorry about that, folks. Little guy had to tell me something. So I'm going to actually move on to some of the washes on this big old creepy crawler. Oh, I need this. I put that there so I can see it for next week. What was that color I was talking about earlier? Oh, it's magenta for this guy. Yeah, he's still wet, so we'll go back to that later. I'm going to take out the strong tone because I want to muddy up these tracks, melt them down, turn them into bullets. Yeah, no, I can get lead so much cheaper. I mean, some of these minis, like I sold two minis this week for $50. Two little gargoyles, $50, because they're from like Heritage Might and Magic. You guys ever heard of that? Probably not. Who do we got in here? I bet you $5 says it's Owen L. The internet owes me $5. What's up, Owen?
Hey, I just finished helping my son out with his geometry. So
Yeah.
but yeah. So anyway, everything's going out there.
Hey, no complaints. I'm painting away and babbling on like a freaking moron.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm surprised there weren't more people. I didn't check if more people were had joined you.
Now, I'm assuming the holiday is keeping people like Bill Paints Minis and stuff like that, keeping them busy, um, which is good because they should be, doing that sort of thing instead of this. Uh, I will be getting up at 6 a.m. tomorrow to make it to church on time because it's one of those big holidays where everybody shows up. Uh,
Yes, I was like, whenever mass, like, why can't you just leave this 30 minutes? Like, no, we got to make an hour. I'm like, no, you don't. Just get me in, get me out.
that's weird. Thursday's mass was several hours and it went by too fast for me.
Really?
I was really, yeah, I love all that pomp and circumstance. The Knights of Columbus were out doing their thing, and the reverence and the just. I mean, it's all new to me, man. I
Yeah.
didn't go to church growing up, and I just it's weird because I don't normally go to the night mass, and that's what this was like 6:30 at night. We didn't get out till like 9,
Okay.
and I'm a people watcher, and there was this group of ladies up in the front row. Uh, there was this group of ladies in the front row that it seemed like just a oh uh bear I hold on a second. He says check my Discord. Let's see if I can do that. Oh no, hold down the
Sure.
port.
Uh-oh.
See if I can go.
So we can get here.
What's bear up to? To.
Yep.
Shit.
James is a
Sure, Bear.
time traveler.
Give me a second, Bear. I'll send you the link in Discord. It is at the top of my Discord, but I think you're not a member because copy link. Go back to Bear. There you go. This should do it. If not, I'll just post it in the chat because I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling lucky, punk.
That's
It's already
right.
Easter there. Well, happy Easter. But there was this group of ladies up in the front row, and they were just chatting away like they owned the place. You
Uh-huh.
could tell they were all Asian and they were all big into it. They had their Bibles had like 4,000 different little tabs, on the sides to get to that song, and
Yes.
they were just having a freaking like this was like the height of their year. It was awesome. Um,
See, I liked going to the Orthodox Mass more than I did the Roman Catholic, exactly for that reason. And then, of course, my grandmother did the choir stuff, and my grandfather used to wander
hey
around.
Bear, how you
Hey,
doing,
Bear.
brother?
Can you hear us? Oh, I don't know
We,
what's
we
going
we
on.
can't hear you.
Yeah. Well, we know he's alive.
Yeah, he's back. Probably just technical difficulties. Say something so we can know that you're
Okay,
alive.
we're doing charades now. That's
First
one
word
word. Oh
sounds
yeah,
like
first word. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Sometimes you have to restart the machine. I've had that problem where, like, why does it, especially for one of my games, like, I had sound. It's like, fine, I'll reboot.
he'll be back. I was hanging out with him earlier this morning. We had a really fun conversation.
Well, good.
Um, I'm getting ready to run a sci-fi game. What? Oh no! I gotta put this back quick before I freaking have a
That's
OCD moment. Oh no! Where did it go? Where did it come from? Oh no!
right. Or we need the was it sound damp or whatever from Dune, where it's off to that little corner.
I was talking to somebody about Dune earlier today. Who was that? I think it was Jackie,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember what we were talking about. But we were talking about something about that. Where
The
do
God
you guys go?
Emperor.
Do you painters out there go through washes like freaking crazy?
I don't think I ever used a wash per se. I mean, I've used it where I've just gotten really thin paint and use it as a wash, but that's not a true wash.
No, no, no. I just goop it on just uh, like I'm made out of it. Like I can just go and I can just go hog wild with it. I know I shouldn't because I know next week I'll be like going over to Noma's Bazaar. It's like, oh no, hurry up and get my paint here, which is really nice because they're in California, so they'll get it to me really, really quick
That's
and really,
good.
really cheap. Um, Still no bear. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I assume he might be restarting his machine.
Yeah, probably.
That's what I would suggest if he's been having problems with it.
It was fine this morning, man.
Yeah, but he may have turned it off, done something fun, and then come back and like,
Done something
or whenever it
fun.
goes to sleep, you know what? He could be on Windows 11, and that's all screwed up. Every time I want to go over, like, you need to upgrade to Windows 11. I was like, well, you won't let me because I have an older processor. And they're like, yes, but I need to. And I would, okay, but why do I want to upgrade now that, especially with memory going through the roof? Um, like, why do I want to upgrade to something that I can't use with my current machine, which is more than plenty powerful? Just they just want to track everyone, and that's what gets me about this. It's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
understand you want to track everyone, but is it really? It's not making things safer. It's just so they can track you, so they can sell all your information over to advertisers. And I wouldn't mind if they actually did that. Hey, how about actually like advertising to me and not all the other crap that I get? you know?
Have you seen that ad? We were talking about it for a minute for the AIDM. I'm seriously thinking about testing it out. Uh,
Oh, okay. I heard about it.
I know it's going to be like 5e or whatever. I just want to mess with its uh,
So
you know capabilities. Not the usual messing with AI.
yeah,
That I joke about. Um, but push it and see how far I can push it into wild and crazy situations, and or is it
here's
just going to be kind of like a really advanced, multiple choice,
here's the
large
thing now
language.
is, I mean, I can use Chat GPT, and what I hear is you really want two of them anyway. Um, that's part of me wants to say, well, I'll get two conflicting, they can check each other, which I hear is the way you're supposed to use AI. You just don't go in like, here, write this legal brief for me, and then you come back and say, hey, double check to make sure that these are actually, that these cases are real with another AI. It's like, oh, such and such is hallucinating. So it's like, oh, okay. What really gets me about it is why judges are not, like, to me, you should be fined, especially if you're a prosecutor or a defense attorney or whatever. Hey, you're going to get fined because you didn't even double check your references. I just find that ridiculous. Um, they talk about the legal profession and they hold them to a much lower standard than they hold me as an engineer. Um, well, the
Mm.
problem, yeah, well, the point is that the people who know how to use machines will become
But
empowered.
Larry and Jihad coming
No,
in.
no, no, he's absolutely right. Is actually that's part of Dune. When we were talking about with Dune,
Yeah.
it's about
Oh,
Larry
yeah,
and
yeah. I
Jihad.
mean, the problem is that I see is that there are so many people on the planet that it only works if they kind of outnumber us, doesn't it? To where there's two or three robots, whatever you want to call them, androids, to each human to keep them busy doing what we would do. And then what do we do? We sit around and get fat.
Well, did you ever watch Wally?
No, I did not.
So that's exactly what the whole premise was with Wally. Is the it starts with a little robot, and they sent humanity up into space, and it's like a perfect luxury liner, but everyone's completely fat, and they do nothing, and it's and finally the captain realizes that he has to do something. But anyway, it's a critique of exactly that kind of thing, which is you live a
You
life of
know,
luxury
I
and
just
everything
remembered
collapses.
something. I just remembered something from my childhood, and I'll bet nobody here remembers this. This is how old I am. Do you guys remember one of the Sid and Marty Krofft TV shows called Lost Saucer with Jim Neighbors and Ruth Buzzy?
I don't remember that one, to be fair.
Okay,
And I watched a lot of TV, so it could just be I
this
just wasn't
this
where I
is like
was.
Sigmund and Sea Monsters. The Chick Fent. You guys don't remember that?
Well,
Uh,
remember, you were in California a lot of times. That was more of a local, you know.
maybe I'll have to look it up and see if I can find it. But there was an episode of that where it was a little black kid and a little white girl that hung out with these two robots, but played by Ruth Buzzy and Jim Neighbors. Uh, and they would go to different worlds or different times or whatever, right? Trying to get back home because they just wanted to go on a trip to like the moon or something. They kept getting
Yeah,
lost, because the robots were inept or something. And one of the planets they went to, because this was like supposed to be like a critique on whatever. And one of the planets or one of the versions of Earth they went to was filled with like massively overweight humans, because the robots and everything had allowed them to get lazy, and the humans just sat around doing virtually whatever they wanted, which I think this was before video games, so they would just sit around and eat and watch TV or whatever. I don't really remember, but people were brave enough to talk about that back then. Uh,
I think people. To be fair, is I'm not saying that people aren't. It just amazes me on the whole thing of it, when I want to say these people with mental illnesses. If you notice that they have like no real adversity in their life, and so they create adversity. It's the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've
Kind of like
heard I- I've heard psychologically, and they say this may happen more to women, is that women are always in a flight response, you know, where they look for danger, and when there's no danger, they have to create it just naturally, um, and that's where you get
I
a
can
lot
see
of
it.
these extremists, and that may be part of a, just difference in psychology for certain things, and uh, it's just weird that as much as people talk about all these feminists, it's just about strong, independent women, and yet they ignore the fact that their grandmothers or great grandmothers were as tough as nails. You know, like, oh yeah, they go out, chop off the heads of chickens, feed like 7 or 8 people. They did that every day. They did
I
laundry.
wonder. I wonder
Yeah,
if things like comic books and especially like the era of the overly endowed superheroic female. Bear would be great to help answer this one. If that didn't like kind of give like a false sense of what it meant to be a strong woman, in that they had to look a certain way, and by that be super gorgeous, but at the same time be able to lift a Mack truck and do all these things, basically become a man, instead of what we all grew up with as a strong woman. Our grandmothers who could go out in the yard, kill a chicken, chop it up, pluck it, defeather it, cook it up, and not bat an eye while
it was well. That's my
doing
whole
all the
point for
other
that. Well,
things.
there is evolutionary
But that image,
psychology. Yeah,
speaking of image, like Image Comics, when like that era, all the comic book covers were covered with these women that top heavy. Just gonna say, that gave like kind of a ridiculous notion of what it meant to be a strong woman.
I don't think that's true because those were aimed at men. I
I,
mean,
I,
if
I
you
know, but they had to have seen them. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah. But I mean, just because you see something doesn't. I mean, to be fair, we've always had that with Greek gods and stuff like this, which is what our superheroes are. Um, it's basically we have.
Look at you.
I don't know, but
Sorry,
yeah. I mean,
nobody
it's
got
the.
that.
I mean, there's just certain things that are in there, but I'd have to be very careful on. I don't think that's really what affected it. I think part of it is that there was this idea that to be equal meant that you had to be the same as, and I think that's the problem. Rather than looking
Yeah.
at it as a, like my mother remembers her grandmother when, just talking about the normal courtesy that was applied to women is, oh, when she walked in the room, every man stood up or they made sure they took off their hat. Very simple, respectful things. And I think the problem is that how do I want to put this? Is a lot of women grew up in certain classes where that wasn't true. But like when I was growing
Which
up, like
part?
the paying high respects to, like, when the mother walks in the room or things like that. Like I said, is hey, all the men will stand up when the lady walks in the room, things like that. And I think some of them.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in like almost my whole life. To be
Well, but
brutally
that's my
honest.
whole point. But if you look at it, let's look at second wave feminism. So we're going to say that's in the '60s. Oh, I don't want this. Well, okay, you said that, but all of a sudden, then you said want to be men. Well, now you don't. Now you get the same respect as a man. And I saw this the same thing when I was, I noticed this at work too, which was the woman would act like a man, you know, would joke with everyone, cut everyone down, everything else, and then someone would say something to her, and she would get offended, and then she would scream and yell about how she's being oppressed, and every man just lost instant respect for her. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I met some women on construction, and those women are scary. But I mean, those are some rough women. Um, you know, and men will just sit there laughing. It's the how I want to joke about it. The aliens with Vasquez. It's like that, but the next level. It was. Um, yeah, I saw that, but I just thought that was funny. But they were rough women. Those were not glamorous women. I think the problem is that that everyone was sold everything. You can do it all, and the reality of it is like with my mother. She's like, well, when I left the house, she went to work. Then she worked for her, a career until she retired. It's like, yeah, but people don't seem to want to listen to that. Well, I have to have this. And I think it's kind of the keeping up with the Joneses aspect that a lot of people have. Oh, well, you have this, so I have to do this. And you look at it and, I see like Instagram and all this other stuff where people coming in and you start realizing that it's curated life. They're not they're curating all of the positive things, or they're lying about their life. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Yes, this is what happens when when you become a zombie beholder. I guess is what that is.
I don't know. I'm just trying to have some
Or
fun.
you know what? That's what happens when you give a beholder way too much vodka. He turns green.
I thought they were always green or blue
I thought
or
they were
I don't know.
red.
Oh, really? Okay. That's the great
No,
thing about the ping pong ball beholder video
yeah.
that Wylock made. You can take for like, I kid you not, for whatever it costs for like a dozen ping pong balls and some paper clips and a hot glue gun and a couple other little doodads, you can make a freaking army of beholders, one of every damn freaking color. Uh,
Well, James, here's the problem: is 1950 the average house in the United States was 950 square feet, and now the average house is like 2,000. So,
that's what ours is like 2,200, I think.
I mean, but people, and that was for a family of four, which a lot of people forget about. Is houses got very big. Um, there is other stuff, but a lot of it is everyone had, like, I grew up. We only had one car. The car was shared between my parents. And so yeah, I think a lot of it is that people try also living beyond their means. I know my son's mother lives just off of my a little with a little bit more, but just off of my child support. So it depends on where you live and what you're willing to accept. Um,
Hmm.
I think that's but it seems like everyone has to have everything. I have to have this, and I have to have that, and I have to have this, and I have to have that. Do you really? Do you have to have cable? I mean, a lot of us grew up with only like 4 stations.
When I lived in Virginia for that period, we had 3 channels, and they were all awful. So I didn't watch any TV for a very,
Yeah.
very long time. I didn't watch movies. I'd have to go over to my ex girlfriend's parents' house to really watch any TV. Okay, this goes over
I don't know
here.
what Mac's talking about. This is normal time.
What are we
If
doing?
it's
It's
past 11,
8:13 in my time.
I mean, if it's past 11, then yeah, you'd have something to talk about there, Mac. But no, I mean, I agree. But I remember my parents getting a mortgage. Their mortgage was
How you
at
doing, Mac?
16% interest rate when they got it in the 1980s. Um, and it was a bigger house than what we really needed anyway. Then they were stuck with it. That's why I tried avoiding buying a house for such a long time. But I've seen people get small houses. It just depends on where you live, and that's the other part too. If you get, I, and I don't know, boy, I was staying at when I was in Chicago. They bought the house. It was relative. It was like a 3-story house. It was actually pretty big. So they rented out 2 of the floors. So I got one floor, which was like 1,400 square feet or so. But they got it for like 300,000 at the time. So yeah, it just depends on when you get in the market and what's going on. And now I'm seeing everything starting to collapse again. Uh, so, but no, I agree. COVID really messed everything up. Um,
Oh
but
God.
but but I think all too often is people really just try living more than they necessarily have to have. Um, and it just depends on what you want and where you want to live. Like, yeah, if I'm gonna live in a big city, like, boy, I couldn't understand anyone that wanted to live in Chicago or San Francisco. I'm sorry, it was not Chicago. It was San Francisco and New York, where the average rent was like $3,200.
Holy shite! That's twice my mortgage, I believe.
Oh, I know. I was like, what in the world? So yeah, it's so but like I said, is most people, a lot of homes were a lot smaller in the 1950s, which is what people forget about. Like, well, they could used to do this, and even my son's mother,
Doing okay,
she grew
Mac.
up.
Sorry to hear that. Uh, I did a crap ton of stuff like that last week. The weekend rolled
Yeah,
around, and not doing much of anything but relaxing, painting, chilling, chatting. Uh, Monday will be here soon enough, and I'll go back to the grindstone.
yeah. But no, I had a. Well, I mean, I'm still having the gout, which I'm still taking medicine for. So, but this morning I don't know what happened. Boy, my back seized up, and I was, including my stomach, so just my entire core just like contracted, and I
Hmm.
was oh. I was like, I did a little bit of working out, but not too much. Um, but yeah, I think that's part of it. Is I'm not saying that things haven't got more expensive. Absolutely, they have. Plus, just look at cars. But I talked to my father, and he remembers that the average car only lasted 3 to 5 years. I've had my car for 12. Uh, no, actually, I'm sorry, my car's going on 15. Um,
We bought a new I want to say washing machine for our laundry.
yes.
The guy told us, "Yeah, you'll need a new one in 2 years." I'm like,
Well,
I've had my refrigerator for one of my refrigerators for
yeah.
15 freaking years. What the hell happened? I mean, are you making them out of all plastic now? What's the deal?
Well,
That's
my
just the
son
way they
pulled
make
that up.
them. If they make
Well,
them too
if you
good, you
want,
won't buy another one. Like
if
I
you
don't
want,
want to buy another one. I want to buy one and be done.
then
Can
buy
we
a
go
Speed
back to
Queen.
that era?
Buy a Speed Queen, but you're going to pay about 4 or 5 times as much. That's um, the same thing I was looking at. But I agree with you. It's like my parents. Hell, at work we have a refrigerator that still works fine for the 1950s. It even has the little lock, in the handle, which you don't
Oh
have.
my god, I haven't seen one of those in forever.
Oh yeah. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff I think that, but I agree with you. It's because I remember hearing the same thing about refrigerators, and my son's mother, she kept talking about getting a new refrigerator like every 3 to 5 years. I went, well, what? Um, and I've had my,
That's
I guess
crazy.
it's on 11 years. Oh, I'm sorry. It's my car's 14 years old. I think it was 2027. No, but I've had my washer and
Good for
dryer,
you,
which are
James. Good
notorious
for
for
you.
breaking, and I've had them for 11 years. So at this point, at some certain point, I'm going to have to get things that are new. Um, but yeah,
Very good for you, James.
yeah, no, I'm not saying for you, James. But I'm saying, but when people talk about having to work two jobs, what you really start finding out is that unless you're in bad health, which that has a big thing with why people get a job, and but I still remember, growing up as a kid, and I still remember, even with my grandmother, they still worked part time just to get some extra income. But man, no one seems to do their own stuff. It used to be that women really knew how to sew. It was like, oh, dresses for prom. Oh, well, so and so's mother is going to make her a dress, and I'm
Right?
really beginning to appreciate that a lot more. Um, now I hate saying it. Okay, great. I hear all these. It's always fun watching the little dating things. People talk about stuff and like, well, I make my own money. I'm like, well, that's great. Then you don't really add anything to
Isn't
the
that
family
illegal?
either. What's that?
Making your own money?
I don't know. You can go off the grid pretty easily if you're willing to like. Did you ever
I
see the
mean
meme?
counterfeiting.
Oh no, no. Well, did you ever see the? Did you ever see the meme where where it's showing like guys on like the 10th or 12th story floor overlooking the beach, and the only thing that you see is a television, a PlayStation, and a foldable chair.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. My new fireplace room is kind of, it's not quite that Spartan, but that's kind of what I was shooting for. Stark white everything with um you know no of course, as soon as I get it all set up, the wife has to put two freaking plastic plants up on the top for color. I'm like, I didn't want that. It's like it's just junk. They're not even real plants. At least if they were real, which I wouldn't tolerate because they would leak onto my books and shit. At least if they were real, they would serve a purpose. This is just like something I've got to dust now. I didn't.
Well, I have to laugh because James L said if you live near the beach, you wouldn't even have a television. I live next to the beach. And you know what? Most people who did really didn't care that much. It was like, oh, well, but it's nice to like walk by it. But actually, I mean, I couldn't go this time. Hopefully, I'll be better in
Good
six
for you,
months or
Matt.
so. Um, we had, I guess, it was a year or two ago. We had a porpoise. I think it was a porpoise or a dolphin come right next to the pier, and real shallow water. We're talking the water was only about 5 or 6 feet deep, if that, maybe even more shallow. Um, I just heard this sound, as it blows out the air. I'm like, what in the world? And it was probably like 50 feet away from me. I'm in the bay.
You got to wonder what drove him to leave the rest of his people.
Oh, there's usually good food. Apparently, I haven't seen it, but my parents would talk about sometimes they would see like hundreds of stingrays that would go into the bridge where they
Ooh,
lived.
aren't those dangerous?
Only
The
if you step
tail.
on them. Only
Oh,
if you
yeah.
step on them. I mean, they're pretty benign. Um, now, don't get me wrong. I had a friend that stepped on one and it smashed right into his foot. But he's like, well, yeah. You know what you need to do? You need to put a little googly eyes and a smiley face on it on the front.
Doesn't that look like the front?
I was thinking the other side. The
The
other
other
side,
side
I
is
would,
the front. The other side
yeah,
is
I would,
supposed to be the front,
I would
but
put,
it
I
just
would put a
for
little
some
smiley
reason
face
the way the
and
angle
googly
is like
eyes.
that, it reminds me of the front end of a modern train.
Yeah, but no, that's what I would do. Is it's humor, but yeah, it's I don't know. Everyone else. liked going out to the bay. I actually prefer going off into the rivers because I don't get stuck out in the sun. Like give me
I
some
don't
place
mouse
where I'm
truck.
shaded.
Nice, Mac. I used to live in Huntington Beach, and I spent the more or less like the first 25 years of my life at the beach almost every freaking day.
Yeah,
And then for whatever reason, we moved up to the high desert. And you know what? I love it. It's so quiet at night, so peaceful. The sunsets are amazing, just as amazing as any California sunset. But there's just something about the austere nature that just
yeah.
nobody around, quiet, peaceful. Um,
You know that sounds fun, but that's kind of what I liked about Afghanistan, where I was, is it was so big and it was so sparse where we were. It was like 35 square kilometers, and there were only like 3,000 people on the base. And so like you drive out in some areas and there was like no one there, and you could, and yeah, you had the T walls, but the T walls like a mile and a half away looked like they're only an inch tall, and then you have these mountains that go up about 6 or 7,000 feet. And so yeah, no, I understand why people love it. I will tell you this much though, I can't take low humidity at all. I
really?
am much more of a swamp person. I just
Okay.
can't. Well, my hands crack. It bleeds.
Uh,
I just can't take it. You know, it's just wherever you grow up is kind of where you like. Okay, that's where my heart is. Um,
yeah, I would think that would be the case, but it's the exact opposite. It's low humidity, freaking high heat. Um, I
oh,
haven't been to
I'm
the beach in easy 20 years, and I mean I think about it a lot. It's like I'd like to go to the beach,
yeah.
blah blah blah. But
Well, I mean, I
uh,
used to go with my grandmother, and she was always, I used to make all the sandcastles out there and stuff like that, and it was always a lot of fun. Um, but I also remember because we get driftwood coming up on the where she lived. Um, yeah, I mean, I hate telling people this, but it's true. You can be in the middle of a war zone and there's only like so much going on. Most time it's boredom.
no, I'm not,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure those words were never on my bingo card. And then you guys are just killing it tonight.
Well, the problem is everyone looks at stuff like, oh, that's terrible. I have one of my coworkers. He remembers what Afghanistan was like before the Civil War because he was there in the '60s, and I was like, oh, okay. Um, you know, the what we think the world has been like hasn't been like that all the time. It, that's always fun. Like when you go back and like, wait a minute, this is nothing like what we think it is now. Um, but yeah, it was. But no, I mean I understand why people like the desert. I really do. I remember working out over in because I was over in Herat, so that was near Iran. So everyone else was worried about the Taliban. I was worried about Israel bombing Iran because they said they'd hit all the military bases around us. They're like, I'm only 60 miles away from the border of Iran. Well, that's. I was like, well, where am I going to go? I said, hey, there's a detention pond. There's nothing out there. So it's a low. It was kind of a low point there, but yeah. But no, it was. But I think that also gives better experiences when you've been through different areas and different cycles. It's like, oh, okay, I've been to Germany, I've been to the Alps, I've been to Cambodia, I've been to Afghanistan, been to Qatar. Oh my God, you want to talk about the worst place? It's like desert, but it's like 98% humidity. Just
Hmm.
sucks. Like, oh, I said, there's not even a tree out here. Um,
It's pretty funny. Um, when people think about, I tell them that I'm in the high desert. I have got a row of pine trees on either side of the main drag here.
yeah,
It gets hot and dry as shit, but we still somehow manage to have freaking pine trees. And I mean, these are, you know, 50-foot tall pine trees, uh, and everything else. It's not like the Sahara. It's hot and dry when it's summer, and during the winter it's just dry.
Well, I know like New Mexico
Not
has those
quite.
bristle cones and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just like when people think of Texas, I'm like, yeah, if you get the Panhandle and South, but where most people live in Texas, it's actually we get about 36 inches of rain or so a year. Um,
I don't get
and you go,
36 inches a decade, but yeah,
that's,
I'm
yeah.
not kidding. It's brutal when it comes to rain, but somehow we still managed to keep everything green, and except when we had that drought and Newsom was being just an
Well, you know what
absolute
gets me
freaking
is
retard.
look. I went over, every so often I forgot. I've been to a couple of times, like you said, over in California, where they talk about the dams, and every time that they're about ready to get a dam, oh, well, we get this big rain, so we're just going to cancel it. Like,
Yep.
you
We
understand?
had we actually had a really nice wet season this year. A
Yeah,
good like 3 weeks. It was absolutely. I love rain. That's the
oh, I do
only
too.
thing I don't like about the desert. Um, and it was really nice. But yep, you guys better pray to God Newsom does not get elected as president, because we've been through it. We know what to expect out here. Um, just whatever you like, just kiss it goodbye. He gets in, and the whole country is just going to go down the damn toilet.
Well, then there's the desalinization, all sorts of stuff. But
I mean,
I
why
thought it
the
was
hell can't
interesting.
they do that? I can go in my backyard right now and take salt water and turn it into clean, drinkable water.
Oh no, it
What the shit? I mean,
well,
there really should be no area in the world without water. Just saying.
even when I was in Afghanistan, which like I said, it was desert. It got up to 120 degrees when I was there, and then it got up to. They had no rain, literally, like no rain for 4 or 5 months. Um, Not a single drop fell. Um, but yeah. I mean, I've been to Seattle, but I'll tell you this much. Unfortunately, James, if you got a little further east, you would have gotten into the Scablands. I don't know if you got into there, but go look at the history of the Scablands, and then if you go even further east, you get into Missoula over in Montana, and go look at just the geography and the geology of what happened through there. And that's just amazing. And even if you go to this Great Salt Lake, and that was people just don't realize just how big the U.S. is. We drove miles up to Washington, 2,000 miles back. One on the western side of the Rockies, and the other time on the eastern side. And people have no conception of just how big the United States is. It's like, oh, yeah,
I'm digging it. The wash over the yellow.
uh huh,
Normally they tell you not to do that. I'm going to
really,
dry brush back over the yellow. Um, but
I did,
I'm digging how grungy it's getting, and how much
yeah,
more that's actually making it look realistic. If
yeah. I mean, well, the other part is, and I wish that we drove through them. I said didn't want to stop by, but there are lava fields and a few other things over that I wish we'd stopped in Idaho for. Um, Now he's old enough to theoretically drive. He just doesn't have a driver's license. Um, but yeah,
Well, this thing's- oh yeah. Sorry guys.
well,
It just needs to get into HeroQuest. It's just more civilized way to
yeah.
resolve a rivalry. Hey, what's up, Root ID DM? It's been a freaking minute since you've been over here.
I actually, when I was in Afghanistan, we had
Our high
pilot
stakes
trainees,
poker.
and what was funny is they would make the women sit next to me because I thought it was funny, and so I would talk to them. And so, but one of the guys, they do kind of like a polo thing where they stuff a goat skin full of sand, and they have to drag it across. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, he seemed to love it. But yeah, it was just interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of the United States that you just don't
Interesting.
see unless you drive it, and you have to drive it. Um,
Hmm. I have driven through uh 25, 30 of the states. The ones I've not seen are all on the East Coast, Alaska and Hawaii, of course.
I
And
did.
the prettiest part of the entire trip, or trips, I should say, because I made it across like 4 times, was Tennessee. Driving through the forests of Tennessee for whatever reason at that time, mid 90s, was just absolutely gorgeous. Um,
I
I would never
did.
live there, but
I did. Well, right now we have, and this is something when we talk about games, and I don't think we do this often enough. Sometimes I think that sometimes we just miss it as DMs because, like, oh, I don't really care. But just talking about the pretty landscapes, like right now, all the
oh,
wildflowers are coming up.
Tolkien kind of killed it for us, didn't he?
I I don't
You
know.
know,
Well, I mean,
not so much Tolkien. Maybe. Hey, what's up, Cold Iron? We were just talking about you a while ago. But the people who hate Tolkien and their jokes about, or their comments about how boring it was, when in fact almost nobody did it better. When it comes to describing the countryside in a fantasy novel, everybody is who's wanted to do that has either tried to do it like Tolkien or has not done it at all, thinking that nobody wants to hear it anymore. And to be honest, uh, I don't know. Like, did you guys ever play any of the Elder Scrolls, Morrowind, Oblivion games? Some of the landscapes and some of the terrain and whatnot in those video games were really, uh, weird and unique, and thus kind of interesting to just stand and look at every once in a while. And I don't think anybody like really wants to do anything like that anymore. It's just go go go, and you know.
I I don't know. I've watched some of them, and I thought some of them. I can't. I have a few games out there that I've played. I think, um, Horizon Zero Dawn had some of those where you just go up there and like, well, this is really gorgeous. Um, you look out. Does the game run well? I think sometimes though is uh, like most things, you can have the flashiest things on there, and I think they said after about 30 minutes, you stop noticing and you just focus on the game. So graphics are less
Mhm.
important. Um, but I know right now for Texas is we have the blue bonnets really coming out, and we just got rain, so that helps clear off stuff. And when they really pop, that's just gorgeous driving down the roads.
No, Cold
Seeing
Iron.
all
We
the
were
wildflowers.
talking about your memes.
Oh, yeah.
The Battlestar Galactica stuff is freaking chef's kiss, man.
But yeah, but yeah, the one of the prettiest place I went to, it was Slovenia, and it was up in the Alps, and we still had the ice on the Alps, but it was somewhat warm. But don't get me wrong, the water was freezing cold, so because we were whitewater rafting, um, but then they had all of the flowers coming up because it was in May. I was like, this is just so
Happy
cool.
trails back. I'll see you
Yep,
soon, I hope.
yep. Next week. No, I mean for Easter. Actually, I'll have to double check. When is Orthodox Easter? Is that next week or the week after?
I am pretty sure it's next week, or at least that's
I
what I've
have,
been hearing from my
well,
Orthodox brothers and sisters.
my father's Catholic and my mother's Orthodox, which is funny because like, oh, you can't mix religions. Bull. They literally tell you if you can't go to one, go to the other one. It's nothing. But I didn't grow up with the weird Irish background for Catholicism. I know those ones that always seem to live in guilt. Uh, it's, I said the Italians don't seem to have that same aspect. Um, oh, that's cool. I'll tell you this much though Shadow Rim. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. Um, But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I got to meet this chubby funds driving met him. I've met just about everybody out there. He just came up out of nowhere on you know the zeitgeist, what do you want to call it? I guess I'm gonna have to meet this guy too.
well,
That
Chevy
everybody's
Funster would. I mean, for the longest time, he was writing stuff, and he wrote it for Axe, which he said is one of his favorite systems. But he said, there's not a big enough audience, so he started writing for Shadow Dark. And as soon as he wrote for Shadow Dark, all of his stuff did really well. And I was listening to him talk about what he was doing with it. He said, well, you saw him Drive Through RPG. Well, they give you credits until you cash out. And so he said, I don't get taxed for the credits. So he just used it to purchase stock art. And that's what he did initially to fill everything up,
Mhm.
like we were talking about before. And then once he got that, then he decided to, hey, he says, now I'm well known enough and I can sell enough that I can actually, hire my own artist. Um,
I don't know.
but, but that's
I uh,
one thing
I
I've wondered.
don't like stock art. I just don't. I like it less than I like AI art.
I don't
Um,
mind stock art, but I hate saying this. Finding good stock art is hard.
mhm.
You have to find the right
And
thing.
it's never to me. There's like no connection, is what it is. You're
Yeah,
picking a picture that someone drew to be a placeholder when what you really, I mean, if you're designing a book or whatever, you've got something in your mind, and the likelihood that you're going to find the piece of art that you want in stock art just seems like a needle in a haystack versus you know paying somebody to draw or paint or digitize whatever that
oh
you actually want there. um Take care, Squirrel.
yeah, no,
Uh,
no. I mean
give
that's
my wife a hug for us.
yeah.
I'm going to be bailing here in just a couple of minutes. Uh, maybe I'll give you a call Monday. You busy Monday? But you call me either way. Just unless I'm on the show from 9 to 10 my time, Monday through Friday. Um, like I said, give the lady squirrel give Zedarok a hug for me. I'll see you soon, buddy. Yeah, I was
But
telling.
but yeah, I mean well, it's James. Well, I can't tell if. Okay, never mind. But but yeah, the problem I have with it is I don't mind stock art because a lot of it is for monsters and things like that. If that's what you're trying to do for the book, uh, that's one of the things that I got the Foundry module for Woolmaster, and I like what I'm reading in Woolmaster. I just know that if it wasn't going to be on a computer, I would never play it because it just takes too much time. Um, and to be
I've
fair, I
heard
think
that. I've heard that about it.
it's
Uh, I was watching one of Bear's shows a while ago for one of his game projects, and he was showing off some AI art of monsters that was really black and white line art. Looked like it could have been done by, any number of young up and coming artists. All original, specific weird creatures, right? As
sure.
opposed to like a skeleton or whatever. And it was freaking, it was great, and I was like, what's the big freaking problem? Why do people have to be a certain way about it when, like, if
Well,
there
because a
wasn't
lot of people,
stigma, if there wasn't this stigma and people just put whatever the hell they wanted in for art. I mean, I have almost never looked to see who did the art in a book. I might go, that's great art, but I rarely go to the front of the book to go, I wonder who did that exact piece of artwork. I rarely ever do that. Even with all of the um, Terran Trade Authority books that I was reviewing with phenomenal art, I was like, this is great art. I'm glad I have the book. I'm not going to go look at who did this exact specific painting. One, because I know they're dead. But two, what am I going to do with that? Go look for more of their art to,
oh, I do. I
maybe
mean,
not, I'm
I
moving
mean,
on to the next page.
see, for me, like Michael Whalen, there's very classic ones. I'm like, they do
Okay,
great
squirrel.
art,
Cool.
and it's like, okay, whether it's Frazetta or anything else, I'm like, yes. But the problem really comes down to, I'm going to knock Goodman Games for their stuff. The quality of their art's not that good, and I understand, it's
Ooh. You
It's
said it, brother. That stuff is terrible.
well, I mean,
I could do better. And
well,
I can't
it's
draw. No, I can't.
it's I hate saying
I
this
mean, I
is
can't draw, but
I there are different ones in there, and again, I don't, but I you have to remember this much, and whether you like it or not, RPGs favor two groups of people: artistic and
and
autist.
autistic.
Art and the artistic people are the ones that do not, when they're saying, "Well, I don't want AI art," I'm like, "Well, that's fine." And all I really want to know is if you're going to be honest about it, the same way I feel about everything else, which is what gets me about like with Games Workshop. Give credit to the artist so I can say, "Hey, look, if you do a great sculptor model, I want to know who did it." Um, and that's one of the things that I think has really bugged me about a lot of larger corporations is that they don't give credit to these people anymore. Um,
Yeah, uh, I'm wondering is that because it is in fact. Oh yeah, I love that one too. I love that one too. I'm wondering if like Wizards of the Coast and some of these other people are using AI and just not saying it because they're not saying they are or they aren't.
so
Why would you not want to put the artist's name if there was in fact an artist? Why wouldn't you want to put the artist's name and let them get a little freaking time in the sun? That's so
well, no.
doesn't make
Here's
any
part
sense
of
to me.
it is, and this is the other part that I think that people are forgetting about with AI is AI really helps the bigger companies because they can afford to pay for art rather than the individual. But the but no. What
I'm laughing at what
Hasbro
James said.
yeah, but what Hasbro said was not that they weren't going to use AI art. They weren't going to use basically all their AI was going to be trained off of all of the work that they already have. And since they have all those Dragon magazines and everything else from all that time for the artists that they have paid for, then they can do that pretty easily. And so they can train their AI on what the thousands and thousands of pieces of artwork they already own, and you can also recycle it. So, well, you can tell whenever you start looking at the fingers and the fingers are all messed up. It's
That's not true.
well, no. At one
It
time,
was 3 years ago, but people keep saying that the fingers. I haven't had an image, and I've created several hundred, if not several thousand images, and I haven't had what usually I find more than fingers is the extra arm or leg.
yes. Well, I had that one. No, but I'm saying no.
But then you
They
just
actually
delete that and move on.
no. It was it was like they're against the giants or whatever. It was their giant book, and
Okay.
people looked at it and said, "Wait a minute, there's something off with like the fingers on the giant," which was literally they'd used AI for it. Um,
Hmm.
that's what I'm referring to. Is there's just
Or a 6 year old.
yes, um, yeah. Well, if you look at Terraforming Mars, used all AI art, um, which is not an RPG, but it's a board game. It people are going to use it if they want to. But I agree with you about stock art. It's just like clip art. People
Yeah.
did overused it. And the problem wasn't there wasn't enough, and that's the problem I had with Adobe. Adobe was trying to get up to the point that they owned all of your artwork so they could train on your stuff. I said, well,
Mhm.
that's not right for that. And there's something to be said for I like everything else is there's this idea that there's no artwork. But I was talking to one of my friends and he says his wife's like, no, you can't do this. But he said, I did AI and then I gave it to an artist and told her,
That
hey,
would be
this is kind
classic
of the
poster
idea
to
that
have.
we want. Um, that's um, and he said that gave her an idea and it cut down on the production time by about half. It's like, yeah, that makes a big difference. I've been listening to Stephen Glicker, with his Deathbringer RPG. And you know what he's doing is he says, and I didn't realize this, which I think is actually kind of
Ooh.
cool. Stephen Glicker, Roll for Combat. So he's one of the big publishers I like to listen to whenever they
Never
talk
heard.
about economics. Um, well, he does, but he does a lot of stuff. Um, Okay, pickle Rick there, James L. But the you gotta use some references that of your own country, man. Yeah, that's now the but but he was talking about what he does now to because they wanted something very similar to Frank Frazetta. Um, was he did is apparently Adobe has a thing where you can see where they're shading everything in and doing it by hand,
Hmm.
and that's how he verifies if people using AI art or not. And but yeah, those are what amazes me is he says that he can tell that when they're using AI. It's like, yeah, if I'm paying you good money to not use AI, don't use AI.
Mm.
I think that's
Yeah,
the real
yeah. I
issue.
mean, that's that seems to be the holy crap. Look at the eye. Does it
Yes,
almost look like I already painted the eye?
I thought I think you already had painted the eye.
No, I haven't. It's
Kind of
so
looks like a
weird. What I did was I just hit it with the wash of not yeah this what the hell? It's this new color from Army Painter, magenta, and I just that was just like an over wipe when I
yeah.
was doing the eyelid, and the wash just got in there. But it kind of looks like I painted the friggin' eye, and up close, personally, it looks even more so. That is crazy. I'm keeping
I
him.
mean,
I'm
so
calling him done.
yeah, that's
It's
the
going on
that's
the
the way to do
shelf.
it. You know,
Just
you
got
know what you
lucky.
should do. You should make sure that the eye is blue within blue, so it can be a framing beholder.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Hey. Speaking of TV shows, uh, we were talking about earlier the Dune TV show, which I actually did watch.
yes,
Um, uh, where can I find the Orville?
that's a good
Is that
question.
is
I
it
think it's Paramount.
Amazon?
Let me see. I
Son
know
of a
that it
bitch.
was
I
on
hope
Fox
not.
for a while. Um,
Because Jackie and I were talking about it last night, and I think he and I would get a little bit of a kick out of it. Uh,
oh, I see. Yeah, it's Disney.
oh, son of okay, I guess I'll never be watching it then. That's too bad.
Well, I kind of figured that because it was on Fox and right before Disney
Mhm.
bought them out.
Yeah, I'm telling you, James, if you saw it in person, you'd be like, dang, Shadow, that's pretty good. I mean, let's see how close I can get it to you guys. I literally did nothing.
No, there's a big eye in the middle. There does. You have to get a little.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of it. Maybe it'll come out better. Uh, but, and I'm not done. I still have a lot of dry brushing and stuff to do. But I'm not touching the eyeball. It's like miracle. It's like finding the Virgin Mary on a tortilla or something. You know, it's
But
a
the
Easter miracle, right?
the big problem I'm having with more modern art, and we're talking whether it's 5e or even I know it's just going to Warhammer, which is even grittier, um, is a lot of the art seems to be lacking that edge. It seems like it's more of a kind of anime style, and that kind of bothers me.
It really not only that, but it's also uh, got a sort of
More pastel feel to. Yeah, it just seems to.
it's almost like God, what is the thing? I want to say like the old highlights magazine for kids, but it's got that really like like all of the violence has been taken out of it, all of the edginess, all of
Yes,
the danger. It's all been like covered in bubble wrap, but without is somehow just softened to the point that I'm like, this is not at all what I'm looking for in any way, shape, or form. Um,
but I mean that's why I was looking at a little bit different. If the Kickstarter for Deathbringer, I'm looking at it, and some of them look like the old Larry Elmore stuff, which has more of that gritty style. Um, it has a little bit like that, but I'm like, look at the artwork from D&D from let's say like the mid '90s and before. and the
Mhm.
artwork from like 20, I'll say 2020 forward, and it's like it's become. I want to say it. It feels like it's My Little Pony style. You know,
It's
it's
so soft. Everything about
yeah,
it is soft and lost any sort of edge or element of danger or fear or violence. You know, I mean,
yeah,
Dungeons and Dragons and almost, let's just say, 95% of all the other role playing games ever made, ever created, all out there, are about dangerous people doing dangerous shit in dangerous places, and
oh yeah,
all of that has been just completely sanitized and made it. They made it safe for 12-year-olds, of today, not 12-year-olds of back when I was a kid. Because when we were 12-year-olds, we were watching some pretty rough stuff that in some places you'd probably get in a lot of trouble if you let your kid watch it.
sure.
Yes, James, what are you waiting for? Get stuck in, get some painting done. I did a bunch. I'm gonna show this guy off. This giant that Cal sent me. I'm just gonna do the whole giant. I'm gonna bring them all out. I mean, I
I'm
could have
not.
given him a weapon, but I just saw him as like, you know what? He doesn't need one. He's telling a story, has planned all the other giants to go do something.
You know what I thought he was? Is I thought he was the retarded Bruce Lee, um, from Kung Fu. You know,
Can I
if
get
you
this
watch
one?
the hands,
He's bowling.
yeah. You know,
Mind you, these aren't the poses they came in. I had all kinds of choices, so I'm just as proud of the paint jobs, which I'm not done with. Oh, there's his face. As the poses I chose, like this one, my Morgan Freeman, uh, basketball playing giant. I just I just had to. I mean, I not trying to be racist or anything. I just saw these pieces and I'm just like, I got to do it. Come on, man. Morgan would love it. Okay. Um, then I got this guy. This was the most challenging one. Trying to get that weapon and head.
yeah.
It, it's so hard. I literally had to take him apart and choose a different head, different angle to get that weapon in there. That I had to pin vise through his hand and cut the weapon in half and pin vise from both sides of the hand to get anything in there. This one is my least favorite because he's just got the derpiest, like Disney Seven Dwarfs kind of face.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, I don't mind. That's more of a Dragonbane style, I don't mind the Dragonbane Vason
And then
style
this guy
of
goes.
artwork. Um, you know, Free League, I think, has done a really good job as far as their
Not done
artwork,
with any of
depending on
these,
how they
but
want to
I
capture
needed a
each of their
break.
game systems. Um, the Dragonbane, which may not be quite
Thanks,
my
Rudy.
thing as far as artwork, it has a unique style, which is not really copied anywhere. The same thing with Alien and Symbaroum, I think, share the same artist, um, which I like that because that's a much grittier um, style of, like you said, not everything has to be super gory, but it has that edge where your mind kind of fills in some of those blanks without being true impressionism. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I really don't care for the 1800 style wars. It's just, I, I want, I really do enjoy the either the Middle Ages or the Roman eras. Um, there's just something special about having elephants.
How is Mateus? I haven't talked to him in like a couple of months. It's so hard. I was talking to James L. That's one of the things I've been trying to do. You guys haven't seen me as much lately because I'm trying to uh, spend time with my friends. Like if I have to call them on the phone or do a one-on-one Discord instead of some of these shows I would do during the day. Like I was talking to Squirrel, I'm going to call him. I'll talk to Hungar. Oh man, I don't have your phone number. If I do, I lost it. I need to get that.
You
Get
just
you
never
mine.
call me. I've given you my phone
I never
number.
write. I never call. We
I
never
know.
hang out ever. It's like the
Yeah,
first
yeah. You
time
just.
in like seven exact whole days. Um,
I would ask one quick question to poor James L here. James L, have you gotten Hail Caesar Epic Battles? Because that just looks cool. That's, um, I mean, let's see. I don't know if you can see this. Not sure why I did that. Let's see.
yeah,
Well, you know what? That doesn't. I have to give it the background here. The Napoleon just didn't quite do it for me with the. But yeah, okay. But no, I was just wondering because the Hail Caesar that comes with hundreds and hundreds of models, and it just looks like it could be an epic and not too expensive. Um, the problem is, I love these things. I would love to have them so much, and then you just go like, "Well, who would I play it with?" I'm like, "Ah, I'm just done." But yeah, they've got the Scipio Africanus legions, and then they have the Hannibal Barcus ones from Warlord, and those just look so cool. I love, when we have the war game miniature stuff here in Temple, um,
mhm.
that they had a guy. I guess it was at least 12 feet across for the board, and I know some of them can get even bigger than that. And then they did. Do you remember there was a game? Was it Circus Maximus, where everyone has
Oh
their
yeah, yeah, yeah.
chariots?
The bookshelf. I used to watch guys like four times my age back when I was like 14 playing at the Unicorns Lair in Orange County. They would play that, and I dug it because it was like the John Carter bookshelf game, where it's like a whole bunch of different games in one. Right? It's got the chariot, the arena,
Yes.
and all the different different little mini games, if you will, so that you get more bang for your buck. I would absolutely love to play that one and um, John Carter, of course. But I used to watch these guys. They would bring in all kinds of different the bookshelf, the original bookshelf games
Yes.
that were kind of classy, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I used to watch this one guy play like this boxing game,
Yes.
solo, and I'm like, that's kind of cool, you know. And then like 2 years later, Punch Out or Knockout came out, the video game, and everybody forgot about that. You know, those classy old freaking use your imagination uh, bookshelf games. There were so many great ones. I'm still looking at picking up. I go through Avalon Hill and SPI and Task Force. Every once in a while, I'll get a wild hair. I'll go on eBay and just check every single listing and see if there's anything that's like complete, cheap, and within my budget. Knowing full
GMT.
well I'll
No,
never play it.
no, I'm sorry. I'm just talking about GMT. GMT basically took over the space that Avalon Hill did in the 1970s.
Hmm.
Um, so my library next month is going to have another convention, and hopefully I'll do a little bit better than this last one. But um, David, who is the librarian, he wrote off to him and said, "Hey, I'm doing this. I work with the local library. Hey, are there any games you want to do?" And they sent him like 30 or 40 games. And
Hmm.
these are not cheap games. And the problem I have with them is they take like 4 to 6 hours. Like I just don't have 4 to 6 hours to play. Like, it's funny
Well,
as a
cheap
kid.
is a relative term. I mean, I can point at some games that are, those little envelope games from micro games.
Yes.
Some of those are insane. Like I still can't find Chitin. It's like one of the only ones I don't have. That's the non-historical games. Like Pathfinder or Trailblazer, Warp War, Ogre, things like that. Um, I have Sticks and Stones. I have all the ones I just mentioned, but I don't have Chitin. And for some reason, it's harder to find than Ogre. And I have an original Ogre Steve Jackson micro games
Yeah.
that I used to play the crap out of at the lunch table in middle school. But
Well,
some of those are like $100, but then you can go and buy like a big ass
yeah.
fantasy flight game with pieces and miniatures and boards that fold out to freaking forever, for less. So the expensive is a relative term.
No. What I mean by no, the problem is you're looking. I'm saying new games. So I'm saying for new games,
Mm.
again, if you're doing eBay, anything that's out of print, who knows what they're worth. But I'm referring to, like it was like Dominant Species, which is thick. It's heavy. It's like a $70 or $80 game. They gave like 20 or 30 of them to our local library for free. Just different games, and he's
What are
like,
you
yeah,
guys
I got like
pulling the Shawshank Redemption? Just writing every game company
he
for
did.
freebies? I ought to try that.
He did well.
Um,
Well, remember, he's a local librarian. His email does have, like the library at the end. Yeah, he. Well, I did that with Brian. We went over and did some of the stuff, but the problem is he works. Before he was completely unemployed, and now he's working like 12-hour days, so like never get to talk to him.
and then when you do see him doing a live stream, you can't understand a word he's saying.
I
We
know.
need to chip in and get him like a real internet connection or something, because every week I see him, I go over and I try to say something to him, and either he doesn't see the comments until I've already left because I can't understand a damn word he's saying. Yeah, it's just print to card and play. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, look, I did that with the old 40K when it first came out. They had the cutout counters, and
Oh, almost every game I have like that has some sort of counters, uh, and some of them like my what the hell, Dawn Patrol, still
yeah,
uncut. Somebody sent it to me uncut, pristine condition. I read through it. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to play this. I'm never going to find anybody who wants to play this. There's probably a better game out there. You just and it just bugs the crap out of me because I just know that you know in the far future there's going to be like one library, one museum that has the only copies of these things left because everybody else has moved on to 3D hologrammatic freaking plug into your brain games, and nobody's going to give two shits about these other games. Uh,
well,
you know,
well,
in
I
the
kind of
future.
feel, I kind of feel differently just by the fact that games can appear now because before you had to luck out or you had to hear it by word of mouth, and now you can go to like a drive-through RPG and say, "Oh, I'll just print it out." Okay, I'll do
Well,
this.
you can. I can't. I'm on their shit list
Well, I
still.
told you just create another account. Yeah.
No, it's not about that. It's the whole IP server or whatever. I've tried making different using different accounts,
Oh, really?
uh,
Okay.
and it's also my bank card. As soon as I use my
Yeah.
card, they're gonna go, oh, it's that guy. We don't want his money,
I
which
don't
is
know.
really stupid,
I,
because
I, I don't
I
know.
never
I
buy the
don't know if you've
crap
actually
out
done
of
it or
it.
not. I'm just saying that sometimes because I have a problem with one of my accounts, which my friend's like, "Well, you just go get it fixed." I'm like, "Well, I don't want to fix it." it's, um,
No, it's and the sad part about whoever put me on that list
yeah,
probably doesn't work there anymore, and they don't know why I'm on the list, but they can't get me off the list for whatever reason, because they do say in the fine print that
yeah,
there is a list. If you've done X, Y, or Z, which I've never done, other than maybe be friends with the Red Room, maybe or Avenger or whatever.
yeah.
I've
But I
never
think,
done
yeah,
or
I don't
complain about the fact that they won't take my damn money. I mean, who doesn't want my money? Come on. I mean, it's not like a ton of money, but I would probably spend about $100 a month over there reprinting games,
know. Well,
getting reprints. And
well,
on the off months that I couldn't find anything, I'd probably just order another set of the trilogy Player's Handbook DMG Monster Manual just to have extras. Because you know, why not? I've got one. Jackie's already pretty much commandeered one set of my hardcovers for his game, and there's at least one kid in the group that I know would absolutely freaking flip if I handed him a set of books. It'd be nothing, no skin off my back. Like here, kid, check these out. Maybe next time it'll be your turn to run a game. You know.
Yes. Um, well, but I mean, just the whole thing of for like printing, and I was kind of tempted to do that with the Rollmaster. But one thing I've learned, whether it's Red Room or anyone else, don't print anything out until it's been out for at least 6 months. you know, um,
Mhm.
and I've been like that for a while. Just
Yeah, I almost went and bought OGGM's stuff that I helped him out a little
yeah.
bit just to help him out. And then he tells me today, oh yeah, I'm redoing it. I'm like, dodge that bullet.
Well, that's what.
It's superheroes for Shadow Dark. I was gonna just throw him a couple of shekels, help him out. Uh, Another sale, get him a whatever, and he already got somebody new to help him out to reformat it, make it look a little more professional, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me know when you get the final edition ready, and I'll
So, like
grab it.
I don't mind if it includes errata and says, hey, it's a second printing, and I understand that comes out, but you know, while it's still in the early phases, I'm like, I'll just hold off. Hey, we
I,
just
I I
released
literally
this.
have I literally have three different editions of Savage Swords from the Red Room.
Well, and I know that the Bo felt it's like, well, Bo, this is why you don't, you hold out until something's been out for you a couple years. Um,
Mm,
that's kind of
kind
the
of. I mean,
thing.
if money's like a big issue, or
Yeah.
you don't want to get stuck with a. I'm glad I did because now I have two copies of the AI art, one copy of the original new, human drawn art, and
Uh huh.
um, I was gonna give those away, but I'm like, you know what? No, I'm just gonna keep them. One of these days, Miguel and Sylvia will be in the United States, and I'll make sure they autograph them, and they'll be, collector's item, and someday in the far future, they'll be worth, $12.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's
I'm just fucking with you guys.
well, no, I
I
mean, I like I love certain books, but I've had some that I remember years ago because I thought that people would do stuff, and I remember buying a book
What's
from a
up,
local
Tea and Table?
miniature game place, and he did
Tabletop Cabaret.
I could tell the game had never been play tested and things like that, and then Millie, this was what 40 years ago. I was so angry. Um,
Which game?
it was some sci-fi game. I was trying to look at it, and it was like, I, some games were actually pretty good, and others were not. Um,
Mhm.
and I, like I said, is when I used to do it. And my father would buy all these games, and he didn't buy them really as a collector's edition. I think he intended to play them. They would sit on the shelf for like 2 years, and then I would just I would tear into the
Shrink wrap.
the shrink wrap, and I would try playing with it and say, "Hey, Dad," and he just never had time.
Yeah, my
But
dad
then,
actually totally missed the boat on all these kind of war games and stuff because he was big into wanting to do something like that. He just didn't know that they even existed. And then we started going to Brooker's Hobbies, kind of a famous hobby
yep.
store. And no, my eyesight, I don't have my proper glasses. Uh, and we started going to Brooker's Hobbies, and he started buying me like the Airfix minis and stuff like that. And then his health just went down the toilet, and he couldn't do anything like that. And he would have just if he and I would have been able to do that, I bet he could have maybe even squeaked out another couple of years or more out of life. Just having something, uh, you know.
Well, like, the sad thing is that I
How
joke
about
about the old folks' home, but my father can barely function up to the point that it's hard for him to even pick a menu, and that was not how my father was. I mean, literally, when we go down to wherever we're going to get stuff, I'm like, "Hey, Dad, would you like a hamburger?" He's like, "Uh huh." Like, okay, and I would go order for him.
Who
And
is
then
Alabama John?
I don't know who is Purple BTW.
Also, don't recognize either of those two names. Not trying
Well,
to
that's
be
what I'm
rude,
saying is
but
that it's
we've had some troubles in the past. Just saying, if John would like to come over and say hi and stuff, cool.
well, yeah, but I
Um,
think I think this is just someone just spamming. That's the point.
could be. I'm not opposed to meeting new people and
Oh
making new
yeah,
friends. And
I
you know,
I mean I've been
but
playing some
it's,
of the games. Like I've been the games I really enjoy. Probably as I get older, I don't because I understand that the rules aren't perfect. I'd rather just play it on a virtual tabletop. Don't get me wrong, I like virtual tabletop, like how we do with Alien, but I don't want to be completely wedded to everything on it. Like hey, okay, this automatic rolls a few things. That's nice, but I don't want it to be the point of it's pure
I
video
was
game.
just thinking when I get to Texas, you, me, and Brian, and then we're gonna have to Shanghai like what is it like 4 or 5 other players to play Twilight Imperium, and someone's gonna handcuff you to the chair so you can actually stick around for 8 or 12 hours, however long it takes to play that freaking monstrosity.
So
Um,
we were playing um, Nemesis, the Alien knockoff game,
okay,
um, and we started at
never
three
heard of it.
o'clock, and we finished around 10 or 11 at night. Even though it says like it's a 3 hour game.
Uh
Now, admittedly, we did stop in the middle to go eat dinner, um,
Okay.
and you're still trying to learn it. But one is my friend has like 600 board games, and that's not an exaggeration. And sometimes like, hey Billy, this is still in the shrink wrap. Is it okay if we unwrap this and learn how to play? um, he yeah, for the Kickstarters, it's just like my son jokingly said, Dad, um, you don't need that. Billy's got it. Or sometimes I'll just email and say, hey Billy, do you have this board game? If you I want to know if I should kickstart it or not. um, yeah. So those are
What's up, Death Angel? Long time no see. It's been like what 24 hours or some shit.
but no, I I will say as much as
Okay, how about now? I don't know what that means.
who knows.
Unless your name is Alabama John, which I don't know, small
It's not
world.
like he can't join in here. It's like
He
try
does
and
know where the
steal
link
people's.
is.
I don't know. It's I
Yeah.
but yeah, like with
Even though we're
Codemasters, like
only going to be here for another 15 minutes, I do have a very early wake up
yeah,
call uh, for
I'm
church.
probably I'm gonna probably head out in a few minutes too. But no, it's the but no, just the whole thing. I like learning new systems. That's why when I hear people go, well, I'm just gonna get rid of books. Listen, every time I get rid of a damn book, I get mad because I wish that I kept it. Um,
I've only gotten rid of, I can't say that. A couple more because I'm actually probably gonna for the third time buy Space Opera and just not even
yes.
open it, just put it on the shelf, knowing full well I hate that game. I don't want that game, but people talk about that game to this freaking day. That game is trash.
Which
Uh,
one?
Space Opera.
Okay, okay.
It's just,
I well, no, I mean, if I really hate a game, that's different. But you know what I do is I give it away like you do and say, okay, I'm done. Um, but I also had a
uh,
yeah, okay.
actually, no, I didn't. I thought you were Tabletop Tap from over tap room from Tenkar's Tavern. So no, I guess I didn't recognize. I thought you were somebody else. But welcome to the show, both of you. Yeah, I sold my Cyberpunk. I wish I never did that. Um, I would never run it, but I would play in it. I love the aesthetics and the graininess of the paper and the smell and I remember when I got it, when I freaking bought it brand new, $20 at Comics Unlimited on Brookhurst and Hazard. No, Brookhurst and Warner, Brookhurst and Edinger, one of those two streets. No, it was Beach Boulevard. That's right, it was on Beach. Um, and I bought it and I got it home and I and I could smell that ink. And for some reason, I was hurting for cash or something, and I sold it, and now it's not out of my budget. It's just hard to find like a really good copy that isn't the
Hey,
reprint hardcover. I don't want that. I mean, you'd think that that's what I would want for posterity, but no, I want the
soft
you know
cover. I do. This is the one
that's
thing.
going to fall apart in 10 years and disintegrate in 20.
You'll be dead by then, so you don't have to worry about it. But no, I mean,
Mhm.
this is why I like the PDFs. It's like, oh, okay, at least I can go look at it if I need to. But I can't remember. I guess we were talking with Bo about this. About having so many books that you never read. And I said, yeah, but if I get a bunch of them in humble bundles and stuff, like I got all of RuneQuest for like $20. I said, well, okay, I'm going to get RuneQuest. I only have to. There are 30 books that I think that came with it. I said, if I read one
Yeah,
or two,
here's one of my problems with PDFs.
yes,
Now, I know we shouldn't do this, but some of us have gone on the high seas and gotten things for free,
sure,
or we've gone other places like Scribd or whatever and been able to look at or download
yeah.
things for free. And the idea that I'm going to pay like anything more than like $2 or $3, maybe five tops for something that one I'm not going to probably read until years from now, if ever, or that someday somebody's going to put on the high seas for free. That they ask, what I think it's actually really kind of overpriced what they charge um, for PDFs. Like if you're doing a Kickstarter and uh, we're going to throw in the Kickstarter, but we're actually charging you like $25 for the PDF of whatever the Kickstarter is. I'm like, that's kind of a lot of money compared to the price of the physical item. To
So
me, it should be like any PDF, no matter how many freaking gigs or megs or whatever it is like only worth a couple of bucks. It takes literally nothing to make or produce or copy or whatever. They push a freaking button and there you go.
yes,
They're
but but
literally
but
just
but how much
hitting.
time does it take to do all the layout and everything else? That's what you're really paying.
That's why we pay for the physical product because that's factored into that, or at least it should be. You know,
So the
uh,
physical product
paying
is not where the majority of your cost normally comes from. I mean, that's just to be fair on that. But
Well, no, the majority of your cost is coming from the art and the layout, like you said,
well, no, but
which
it's
is
also your time. It's also your time to do
well,
that.
that's
That's
sort of like uh, an impossible to calculate factor unless you keep track of your hours that you're spending writing and laying out this project, which nobody ever does. They just pump in every spare minute, which is why I think those people should get the lion's share, not the other people. But that's
I'm
not how the real
I
world works. You do 90%
well,
of the
well,
work, but you
you
get
get it on
10% of the
Patreon.
money.
The again, where do you make your money? You don't make your money from selling the RPG. You make it from the ancillary activities from that RPG,
It's like
which
music.
is
You make the
yeah,
money
it's
from touring, not from
right.
everything else.
Well, and if you look at it, is for the longest time the artists were completely screwed on the. I mean, just the whole record industry was so parasitic, that they just screwed the artists so much they had to tour. Um, but um, but no, it's not that I mind so much. That's why I said is I wait till I get a humble bundle or bundle of holding,
Mhm.
because then I get like 30. When you like for a traveler, fine. Guess what? If I don't mind paying $20 if I'm going to get 20 PDFs,
I
that's
have 20 PDFs and I never look at them ever.
yeah. But
I got them for free. A whole bunch, probably more than 20. I think from John Longshore over on Fritz's channel of different. Like every day he would,
yeah,
give out a free copy of one
yeah.
of the traveler books, and I've got crap tons, and I've never looked at any of them other than to make sure I downloaded it properly.
So
Okay,
so
and then I would read the table of contents and go, yeah, okay. If I need it, it's there, but I've never needed it
so for
per
me
se.
is, and I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but for me is I want the PDF so I can see if I want the physical copy. That's kind of, and that's why when you talk about the high seas, and I'll be
Mhm.
honest, just because I can get something for free off the high seas or the Trove or whatever, if it's reasonably priced, I will pay money for it because I said, hey, you make a good product, I'll pay you for it. And if I
Well,
don't
yeah,
like your
that's why
product, I
we
won't.
do that is to
Yeah.
to look at the PDF, to look at it and go, yeah, now I actually want this in physical whatever. Unfortunately, a lot of the things that I was looking at, I couldn't get a print on demand. A lot of the old Gamma World stuff,
Yes.
it's crazy. I mean, I had to do some of my reviews reading the PDF of some of the different Gamma World modules, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of a cool module. I'd like to have it. Then I go look for it. It's $80, for 13 pages of module material. Maybe 32 pages. And a fold out map. Uh,
So
and
for
it's just
me,
like crazy. And then you go over to drive through, and it's like $5 for a reprint to print the damn thing, or maybe 10. I'm just like,
well, so looking at like with Death Angel, to me, my expectations, if I buy directly from the publisher, and that can be whether it's Kickstarter or like Chaosium or something, I expect a PDF with my damn book because I'm paying a little bit more for that anyway. Um, and
mhm.
it's not free. I just kind of I expect that. That said, and I'll use like Wallmaster or especially when I was doing Conan, I read the book when I'm lounging around enjoying myself, and I use the PDF when I'm actually playing because I need to hit Control F, and Control F is a lifesaver for a lot of stuff. Um, and maybe that's why I was listening to Seth Skorkowski complain about the layout of the Conan book, which I understand, but I didn't have any problems finding it because I hit Control F. But I know he didn't get a PDF with it; he just got the physical book, and that's a whole different thing. Um,
Exactly, Death Angel. That's exactly how I feel. Out of sight, out
yeah,
of mind. If I don't have the physical, I'm always literally my tablet or my one of my devices
yeah.
is always on, and it's being used for music or entertainment. Listening to the latest news or videos or whatever I'm interested in at that time. Therefore, I cannot, and I'm usually doing something completely different with my hands and eyes, not actually holding it and just staring at it all day. Um, I'm doing something else, so I can't really use or
So,
read the PDF. And if if I don't see it, like now the way I have my family room set up, all the things that I need to read or finish reading are right there. I literally cannot help but see that I've got my Conan omnibuses and some of these other books that I didn't finish reading, and I want to, and they're right there. And I'm like, okay, cool. When I'm absolutely in the mood for that, it's right freaking there. It couldn't be easier to get to because I'm only up here in the studio. If you guys see me on camera, I'm in the studio. Otherwise, I'm downstairs. I don't hang out here uh, to paint except when I'm talking to you guys. So I'm downstairs doing stuff, and I just don't have the time to sit in front of a screen. Um, but I
for
totally
me,
get, like, if because you play in person a lot, right?
I would love to play in person, but I haven't done that in years. Um,
Oh, so you're using your device, a second device for the F. What did you
so
say?
so
F.
for so for us, let's assume that like when I was doing, actually, I'll do one I last time I did, which was 5e. Um, we would go look up stuff, and I would get into the PDF for whatever,
Mhm.
and I had my book, and at the time, I don't know what happened to my pen. Is I could bring up my character sheet on there. Hey, I need your character sheet. I just email it to my friend immediately. But then the other thing I also noticed was but you're right. I just hit the little search button and I type in what I'm looking for, and it gives me all the list.
Nice,
And
James.
sometimes
Nice.
like if you're trying to say, and like whenever we're playing online on Sundays and stuff, guess what? Control F is my friend. Let me go find the spell. Control
Mhm.
F. Okay, that's which saves me a lot of time looking stuff up. Um, but like say like the alien book, the alien stuff. I still
Mhm.
have a physical copy next to us while we're playing. Of course, not that you can. course, it's green, so it doesn't help. But
Mhm.
I've got a physical copy with me. I have it. I am talking to you on this PDF. I have my phone that I'm using as the if you send me secret text messages, and then I have the virtual tabletop, and then I have the PDF on the side also. So it's not that I'm not using everything I can. It's
That's
but when
crazy.
you're
That's crazy. I
but
mean, compared to the old days where it was in person, piece of paper for notes, the book at hand, that was it. Now we've got you're talking like what 4 or 5 digital devices.
plus a
Uh,
physical copy. I still like having my physical copies, and
that's
uh,
crazy.
well, the other part is, and this is what comes down to it, and we all joke about it, but I joke about my literal bag of dice, which is like 15 pounds of dice,
It's a
or whatever
bean
else I
bag.
have in there. Yeah,
It's a
well, it's a
freaking
book
bean
bag
bag.
full of
I've seen
dice.
it. Don't let him lie to you, folks. He's got a bean bag
uh,
of dice.
but when I pull it out, but you know what? For my iPad is like 2 pounds, and guess what? I can carry 40 or 50 pounds worth of books on that, which is a lot easier. Plus, I can look it up. Um, but a lot of times when we do have discussions about rules and stuff, it's easier for me to look at Control F and do a copy and paste, or hey, I'm going to do a cut, out, to snip. I To me, I'm a hybrid. I want both, but like let's say for Traveler, I bought all the Traveler PDFs. The PDFs I enjoy, I will get a physical copy of. I'll wait on Amazon. I'll wait like 6 to 18 months until those prices drop to like the 30s, where I'm like, okay, I'm willing to pay for it, and I buy a copy of it. And I have to blame the Trove. I hadn't bought a lot of RPGs. I came back from Iraq, and I said, "Oh wow, there's this thing called the Trove or the Eye or whatever you want." And I
Hmm.
said, "Hey, there's this game. In particular, I'll use Alien, which I do like. Hey, I'll use the Alien one." I looked it up. I said, "I actually like this rule system. I think I'll go buy it." Whereas, if the problem is there are so many RPGs out there. If you're not one of the big ones, breaking out is very hard because no one has the ability. And I'll mention one other thing though. It's again, I don't mind paying someone for good PDFs for all their work, but Alexander McCrease, they were asking him about pirating. He said, "Yeah, people pirate my stuff all the time." He said, "Are you worried about it?" He says, "Well, actually, a lot of times what happens is they like the work I do, they join my Patreon, and then they support my next Kickstarter." He said, "So I don't worry about that as much." Um, I said, "Oh, okay." And I think a lot of them understand that, and I agree. Books are a premium product, but I'll use Numenera, which I bought way too much of stuff for that. But for the
Death
Cipher
Angel,
system,
let me know when you're running that. I want to play some Traveler.
yeah.
Um,
But like the Cipher system, I I like their books, but man, their PDFs are so much nicer than anyone else's other PDFs because they hyperlink everything internally.
mhm.
So when it says, "Hey, such and such," and they'll have a little side note that says page 292, whatever. If I click on page 292, it takes me over to that rule. they have, they know how to hyperlink things, and you get spoiled when you start getting stuff like that. Why in the world? Most of them, I know it's hard work, but
You
man,
know,
you should be.
it's weird because like for like D&D
Yes,
to this day with my AD&D books, even the new prints, I can like open the book almost to the page I need. Like I want to say 7 out of 10 times, I'm right there on the like exact freaking page that I need because I've been doing it for
sure.
45 freaking years. Other books though, like Savage Swords or anything else I'm dealing with, forget about it. Even with the table of contents, I'm not finding it in
Well,
like
well,
3 minutes.
that's why I said there's a control F. That's why I do things like that. I don't, uh, and sometimes, like I
You're not
said,
wrong,
is
Death Angel.
if something comes out and I'm not sure, and I've been burned badly enough, and I'll blame White Wolf for this. Is for the longest time I'd buy all their stuff because they were actually bringing out supplements. Well, over time, there's only so many supplements you can bring out, and then it's just like, oh, we got like 2 pages of rules, then we have like 80 pages of fluff. I said, this is not worth that much to me. You start learning the hard way.
Hmm.
So I became more discerning. So Um, but again, there are ways to do it. Like I said, Alexander McCrease thanks us every time for paying his mortgage. I forgot how many people he has in his Patreon, but he said if you can get up to his, I think the way that they put it is if you can get 1,000 people who were dead set following, not all these other people, and they're willing to pay $5 a month, then you can be a pretty good RPGer. And that's the trick. And that's why I'm actually kind of surprised. And we'll see what happens with Arduin. And I don't know about Matt either. Do they have a Patreon that they're doing to encourage people to be part of that? Because that's when they're going to make.
Arduin,
That's when
no.
the
Matt will probably jump on that at some time. Death Angel, I don't even know my own phone number. I never call myself.
yes.
So it's kind of, nor do I ever give my phone number out. So I have no way, no reason why I would memorize the number. Um, but speaking of which, I got to hit the road, guys. It's 9:30 my time. I got to be up in like 7 hours or some crap for
You know
church.
what? I My friends are millennials, and they do both. They both text and talk. Because there's something special about hearing a human voice. We usually text if we're busy, like we're at work or something, and I don't have to respond in a timely manner. Um, we call if we want to like drive like on the road and like I got nothing to do for the next 4 hours. So, all right, take care.
See you tomorrow, man. Everybody else out there, happy Easter, happy trails.
Yeah,
I'll see
I
you
won't
guys
be here
tomorrow.
tomorrow either, Shadow. I
Oh,
won't be
okay.
back until for like 2 weeks, just so you know.
Oh, okay. So you are doing the vacation thing.
Well, yeah, I've had the time off. I've been spending it with my son. We've been going through, make
Enjoy,
sure he stays on
enjoy. Give
track.
the
So,
mess up the kid's hair for us,
oh,
and
I will. I'm gonna cut it all off. He always hates that.
boy, boy got a haircut today too. All right,
All right.
bro. I'll see you soon.